every game, every kick of the ball, live.
This is Sports Time from BBC Radio Scotland.
St Mirren.
Low ball for Phillips, got a bit of space, he shoots and scores! St Mirren draw first blood!
Versus Partick Thistle.
Pulls it across, huge chance, and an equaliser! Thistle level through Fitzpatrick!
It was going to always be a tough game here tonight. They're unbeaten all season. We knew that ultimately we're taking a draw back home, and we have one game at home now to secure our future.
We controlled the majority of that second half, scored a very good goal. Maybe unfortunate not to get the second. We're still in the fight, and it's on the balance.
This is Sports Time.
Good evening and a very warm welcome indeed from me, Richard Gordon. One remaining game in the SPFL for season 2025-26, and it is absolutely crucial. It is, of course, the second leg of the Premiership playoff final. That 1-1 draw at Firhill on Thursday night has left things set up absolutely superbly. And given what we saw, it's going to be no surprise at all if this evening turns out to be just as tight and just as hard fought. There may be a slight issue for the players in terms of the weather. It continues to be sensational. It's not often doing a game in Scotland that you have to wear your sunglasses, but absolutely need them this evening. The sun just making its way around, beating down over the stadium from across towards Glasgow Airport there. It is still 20 degrees plus inside this stadium. I guess it'll have cooled down within the next hour or so by the time the players come out for the game. But right now, a few are out. The St Mirren goalkeeping staff out there, and the coaches across in the part of the pitch that is in shade. It is only about 25% of the pitch, not even that is in shade right now. So the sun beating down, the pitch looks resplendent as we move towards what will be, I'm sure, a shuddering climax, as it always seems to be, to the SPFL season. Delighted to say the same team are here as assembled on Thursday night at Firhill. So it's full live commentary coming up with Ian McCall, Rory Loy, and our match commentator Liam McLeod. And Liam, you've got the team news?
Sure do, yeah. This is always a momentous occasion, and it's an occasion that we've enjoyed in Dingwall for the last 3 years, as Ross County battled twice to stay up and then ultimately going down a year ago. And of course, as we were talking about on Thursday, Partick Thistle didn't enjoy their experience of the playoff final 3 years ago, as they were beaten on penalties by Ross County at the end of that dramatic playoff final. St Mirren then, the hosts after the 1-1 draw on Thursday. It's two changes by Craig McLeish to the starting 11. Jayden Richardson and Jake Young coming into the side, with Richard King and Mark O'Hara dropping out. So Sinclair in goal. It will be that back three of Fraser, Gogic and Freckleton, with Richardson and Tanser in either side, Campbell and Devaney in the middle, with Phillips supporting the front two of 13 goal Mikael Mandron, and Jake Young on as his partner this evening. On the bench for Saints, Thomas Avicius is the sub-goalkeeper, with King, O'Hara, McMenamin, young 17-year-old fullback Faulkner, Idowu, Calvin, Douglas and Nlundaloo making up the St Mirren bench. For Mark Wilson's Jags, well, Ben Stanway's made it. That's the headline news for them. He missed out on the first leg because of injury, and he is taking the place of Logan Chalmers in the side, and they're going to revert to what St Mirren are doing, a back three tonight. Josh Clark in goal. The three will be Ashcroft, Macbeth and Loughrea. On either side, McPherson and Redding, with Crawford and Stanway in the middle. Fitzpatrick perhaps floating around there behind the front two of Watt and Samuel. The bench, Badanauskas is the sub-goalkeeper, with Logan, Turner, Chalmers, Mackay-Stephen, Faulkner, Dolan and Letsosa making up the bench. The man in the middle for this one in the Paisley sunshine is Nick Walsh, with John Beaton and Greg Aitken on VAR as the Thistle goalkeepers come out to begin their warm-up. Not long to go now, Rich.
Not long at all. It's the moment that both sets of fans have been waiting for, and it's brilliant to know that it will be a packed-out stadium here this evening. There will be nerves, absolutely no question about that. We've seen so many different types of playoff finals over the 11 years that they have been played out. Some have been fairly comfortable, others have been absolutely dramatic. In the main, 7 times out of 11, the Premiership side makes it. but that cannot be taken for granted quite clearly, and St Mirren will be looking to do what most of those teams have done. Partick Thistle hoping to come up and to return the team to the top flight of Scottish football. What an evening it is here in Paisley. Let's get the thoughts on the team news. Rory Loy, first of all, a couple of changes for St Mirren. What do you make of that?
Good evening, Richard. I think it's just a bit more attacking intent with being the home side. You know, that becomes clear with the shape. Killian Phillips started as a striker, naturally kind of dropped into midfield at times on Thursday night. However, now we'll see Mikael Manderon and Jake Young, two out and out strikers at the top end of the pitch. And I also think Jaden Richardson coming in for Richard King gives Paddy Redding a totally different set of difficulties tonight, because Richardson does, whilst his final ball is lacking at times, he does like to maraud up and down that right hand side. So Paddy Redding will need to be on his toes to try and stop that, as well as trying to push him back in a defensive sense. So I think St Mirren's point of view, it's a one-off game. They need to go and win it. So they go with the two strikers, and I just think overall, to answer your question, I make that they are going out to do so with a little bit more attacking intent from the start of the match.
We'll find out exactly how it pans out, of course, as soon as the game kicks off. You start to get early indications as to how it might go. Thistle will be absolutely delighted, Ian McCall, to have Ben Stanley back in there.
Yeah, I mean it's just more of a match-up in the game with Thistle changing the formation back to what it was in the second half. It's just how fit is Ben. I mean, I've been told it's a hamstring, or somebody else has said it's a muscle strain. So, I mean, if it's a hamstring, you know, it just depends how fit he's going to be, because a lot of his game is his ability to it's not a lot of his game, that's unfair. He's a terrific young player, but his ability to get around the pitch, he's very dynamic, gets into the goal scoring positions. But key for me is Fitzpatrick again, and that's the only thing that we don't know yet, is what one of the St Mirren midfielders will be asked to be in and around him, because I think Crawford and Stanley will play behind him and Fitzpatrick will have a free role. I thought the change that Mark Wilson made at half time worked, and I thought that was because Watt and Samuel played a lot closer together and got up against people, and you know, we gave the St Mirren back three real problems. So I mean, it's a match-up, but you know, Fitzpatrick, you know, there's three midfielders against three midfielders, but Thistle's three midfielders, are one of them is Fitzpatrick, who can play right, can play left, can play in behind the front too. So I think that'll be an interesting thing to look out for.
And do you think Thistle were always going to, do you imagine they were always going to go for that three, given the success they enjoyed in the second half on Thursday night after making that change?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think when they went to a back three, they looked a bit more solid as well. And you know, who knows, Richard, how much changes affect the game. Maybe St Mirren dropped off, maybe, you know, the Thistle players recognised they had to do a wee bit more. I thought Robbie Crawford was absolutely outstanding the other night, covered every blade of grass. And yeah, I mean, I think they'll think, you listen to the two managers before the game, both young managers, well, one very young and one pretty young. I think they were, St Mirren were quite happy with the draw to bring them back here, and I think that's a decent result for them. But I think Thistle thought in that second half performance they could have got that win.
Yeah, they certainly created chances. They dominated that second half. They could only get that one goal. One goal was enough to level things up. I guess I always feel at times that you can look at managers and it's almost like you overthink things, Rory, and it would have been easy for Mark Wilson to start going over and over it again. Do I go back to a 4? How do I... It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? You got success from playing the way you did in that second half.
Well, that's exactly it, Richard. I think video analysis and assessing the opponent is good to a point, especially if you feel that the opposing team have superior players or are going to dominate possession. When it comes to Partick Thistle against St Mirren, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it'll be a very tight, evenly matched affair. So I think from, you know, Mark Wilson's point of view, yes, you do your work on St Mirren, but you don't want to get too laser focused on what they're good at and what they can do, because the reality is, if you turn up and play the system you've played all season, you're capable of getting a result against them. Whilst they didn't quite do the job here last time, they were very unfortunate with a penalty incident, and I think had far superior shots and goals certainly than St Mirren, so they can come here and put on a performance. So yes, you do your little bits here and there on the opposition, but overall, generally speaking, if Partick Thistle turn up tonight, play the way they've been playing all season, and the shape they've been playing all season, there's absolutely no reason why they can't get clinch promotion.
Let's go down pitchside live to our reporter Jane Lewis, just been joined by the St Mirren manager Craig McLeish.
Yes, I have indeed, Craig. It's a lovely sunny evening here in Paisley, but how is your mood? How are you feeling ahead of this one?
Really good, excited for the game. We're looking forward to it. We've obviously reviewed the game from the other night. We've had a couple of days in the training pitch to put a plan in place, and now we're ready to go.
Reading an article from one of your players, Alex Gogic, was talking about the importance and how vital it was to stay away from the kind of pressure that this kind of situation can bring. Have you had to kind of do that with some of the players, just kind of keep their minds away from what's at stake here?
I think the message from us is just to try and shut off that noise and focus on the things that we can control. Like if we play to our strengths and we have boys turning up and sticking to our game plan, then we have more than enough to get through this tie.
Talk us through your team news. You made a couple of changes. O'Hara and King are out, Young and Richardson come in. What are you thinking and what are you hoping that those changes will achieve? So
Mark picked up a knock in the first game and had to come off. We were a wee bit kind of touch and go whether he would make it tonight. It's settled down and he's available, but we had to kind of put a plan in place over the last couple of days. So he'll still play a part in the game tonight, hopefully, with Kingy dropping out and Jayden coming in as well. Kingy gives us a bit more defensive solidity. We did the same away to Aberdeen, at home now in front of our fans. Like Jayden gives us a bit more attacking threat, a bit more speed going forward as well, and it allows us as well to have Jake up front alongside Mika, so two natural strikers, Killian back into his natural position. So Mark, unfortunate that he picked up a bit of a knock, and the other bits like just tactical.
That is a blow, isn't it, losing Mark, because he's a real leader on the pitch out there. You can see that in his game. He really kind of drives the players on, and obviously he chips in with the odd goal or two as well. Yeah,
massive, and he'll play a part tonight, and he knows that. It was just a bit of, if like Killian had to come off the other night as well, if they both start the game and we have to make two changes, we don't have enough kind of midfield cover, so it's kind of trying to play how the game might pan out as well. We will need Mark, and when he comes on the pitch he'll give us that driving force.
We're told it's going to be a full house. Obviously, the Partick Thistle fans are starting to fill up the away end, and the rest of the three stands will be full of your home fans. How key could they be this evening?
It will be. It'll be massive. Like we felt that in the away game the other night as well. We had a big travelling support with us, but the Partick fans were so noisy and kind of gave them that little bit of a lift after half-time, where we maybe lost our way a little bit. Like we need that from our fans tonight, and we know we'll get it. We have to kind of thrive off that and live off of their energy, and they have to feed off of our excitement on the pitch as well.
What kind of game are you expecting tonight? Because I mean, we talked about the pressure and what's at stake, albeit whether you're feeling it or not. It could be quite nervy, it could be quite cagey at times, I guess, could it?
It probably will be at times, and it's a game where it'll come down to moments. Like the game the other night showed that we both have really good spells within the game. It will probably be the same tonight, and it comes down to key moments. It's who takes their chances when they come to them, who defends their box really well, who's clinical at the other end. We have to just focus on our bit, and again, we play our game plan, and we have all of our boys turning up and playing to the levels, then we'll be fine within the game.
Just a final one in terms of trying to retain your top flight status. That's obviously the main priority here this evening. But just how vital is that to a club like St Mirren?
It is, and that's what our goal is. We can't really think beyond the game tonight. Like once the outcome of the game's sorted, we'll plan kind of for that outcome. But look, we're a top flight club. We've shown that. We've been top six over the last couple of seasons. We've won a cup this season. Look, we find ourselves in a position that we don't ever want to be in as a club, but this is it. We're here and we have to turn up tonight.
Appreciate your time. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Craig McLeish with Jane Lewis. It's a position he never would have imagined a few months ago that he would be in, but there he is, in charge of St Mirren in this vital second leg of the Premiership playoff. Talk there about feeling really good, everybody excited. And also that they've done the video analysis, took a couple of days in on the training pitch, and I mean that's important, isn't it, that you've got that time. He and his coaching staff feel they've seen something there that they can work on that might give them the edge tonight.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, everybody does it now, and they even started to do it when I played, and certainly in my career we started to do it an awful lot. But I mean, one of the things is the change to two strikers, I think, is as is as clear as day is because they're at home, and it's going to be a home game for them. They're going to have more of the ball. And the Mark O'Hara one, I think Mark O'Hara's been a terrific player for St Mirren, is a terrific player for St Mirren, but to me, I know he's maybe taken a wee knock, but I think that's actually improved St Mirren, because he didn't look quite fit, I didn't think. He obviously was out for a period of time, so I think it actually improves putting Killian Phillips back into that position. And he was a goal threat for Hill on Thursday. Well, he wasn't a goal threat, he scored a goal, but even in midfield, that gives him another goal threat with an added striker. So I think that's improved the team, what Craig has done.
One thing he did say, which he speaks a lot about blocking out the outside noise in terms of the importance of the game and what's riding on it. I think it's important the players do know and understand how much is riding on this game. The fans are here tonight, they expect a performance, and if you win, you stay in the league, and that is ultimately what all the players know that. So yeah, I do understand you've got to protect them to a degree, but ultimately they're football players, they need to deal with pressure. And fine if there's loads of negative noises coming in, but I still think it's important the players understand, and they will, what's on the line.
Outside noise is just another current buzz phrase.
Yeah, look, I think maybe what he's trying to do is, the players will absolutely understand what's at stake, but maybe just trying to I suppose, lessen the pressure on them a little bit. I hear so often, if players if it's nerves and you're really feeling it in that way, then it's perhaps an inhibitor when it comes to your performance.
I mean, quite possibly, but I still think that the players need to understand how big this game is, because the repercussions of losing this game could see them, in the Championship. Partick Thistle went down. I know it was COVID season. They ended up in League One, rather unfairly. They'll point out, of course.
It was very unfair.
Aye, okay. Well, I don't disagree. Oof. But before coming back up to the Championship, back up to the Premier League again, and St Mirren, were out for 3 years at one point as well. Clubs don't find it easy. You look at Falkirk and the journey they had to go on to get back to the top flight. So in reality, the players need to understand what's on the line tonight.
That whole thing about not letting the occasion get to you, Ian, is that really important? I mean, can that have a big impact on how a player performs if he almost gets too tied up in the pressure, the nerves about the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, it actually can. I mean, that's one of the things these days that they say, but I think that's a reality. And I just think if you get too psyched up in the game, and you've seen Rory will have been in dressing rooms, all different types of players. Some get psyched up for every single game. I mean, I played with John Yap, I played with Yogi Hughes. He was psyched out if you were playing under 18 team. So and I think sometimes games of this magnitude, what's at stake for both clubs, and make no bones about it, is huge. You can sometimes take it out your legs, and after half an hour you're feeling a little bit leggy just with that nervous tension. So that, the job, I think, of the manager, the coach in these type of games is trying to relax the players, and I think it's possible to relax players and they've still got knowledge of how big a game it is. I just think, I don't know, when I was doing it, certainly for the last 5-10 years, it was always I always hated saying the biggest game of the season, because then the next one was, and players are thinking, well, what is the biggest game, and they're tensed up for every single thing. But you can be, a manager and a coach can relax players, and I think, and Rory's right, I think you can relax players, get the tension out of them, but still make them aware that this is a pretty big occasion.
And they've managed one-off games pretty well this season, Richard. You look at their 3 appearances at Hampden, where obviously they've lifted a trophy there, one-off games with a lot on the line, slightly different outcomes to potential losses and victories, but they've been able to handle big occasions at a big venue on a number of occasions this season, which should in theory stand them in good stead. And
this is essentially a cup final on their own pitch, with the vast majority of their fans inside the stadium. Yes, the only thing I would say is there is, and whether that's right or wrong, there's an expectation on the Premier League side to beat what is effectively a championship side at this moment in time. And whilst we look at things and think, look, it's going to be a fairly even game, or we maybe favour Partick Thistle ever so slightly, depending on which way you're looking at, who you think is going to win the match, but it's going to be relatively close, I would say. So they just need to deal with the expectations of probably being slight favourites given that they're at home, but they've been able to deal with the stress of big matches so far this season.
The one thing I'll say, Richard, you sense that, and I don't know why I'm saying this, but you sense the Partick Thistle players are more up for it than the St Mirren players, and you sense the Partick Thistle supporters are more up for it than the St Mirren supporters. I mean, I know there's not many St Mirren supporters in yet, but you'd have thought for a game like this they would have been in by now, or more than there is.
I said though, Richard, on Thursday, the idea of being promoted is very different to the idea of being relegated, and I think excitement of promotion is different to trying to avoid relegation.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember a few times over the years that when Aberdeen were in serious trouble at the very end of the season. I mean, it kind of almost felt like a cup win if you did get that victory and you stayed up in the top flight. But absolutely.
Talking about this season, Richard.
Well, you saw
heading that way.
You saw De Zerbi running on the pitch at Spurs.
Yeah,
You know, and I mean, that was for them to finish 17th place in the Premier League, which is unheard of, and they're all going bananas. So I mean, you do celebrate something. I mean, then there's got to be a reality check after it, of course.
Yeah, look, it would be massive for St Mirren to stay in the top flight, but of course equally it would be massive for Partick Thistle to return to the top flight. Let's hear from their manager Mark Wilson, also been chatting with Jane.
Well, Mark, it's a lovely night for football. Maybe a tad on the warm side, to be fair, though. How's everyone feeling, though? It's a big game. It's a pressurised game, isn't it?
It certainly is, but I think if you gave any of our players a choice, if they wanted to be involved in a game of this magnitude on a night like this at this time of the season, when we reported back to pre-season, they would have bit your hand off for it. So we've had an absolute incredible season. I think every one of us has enjoyed every minute of it, and what a way to sign it off. And it'd just be icing on the cake if we get the result to take us back to the Premiership.
What have you been doing over the last couple of days to prepare your players for this very moment? Has there been a lot of kind of mental chit-chat and making sure that the players are mentally right?
Just purely relax. I think we've pretty much taken it easy. I think everybody could guess that you can't do much on the pitch. We did a bit of analysis, tweaked a few things, spoke about a few things we could have done better. And that's been about it, but just the guys have enjoyed the last couple of days. We've trained on Firhill, which is always something that the players enjoy. The weather's been nice and just taking it easy. I mean, a lot of the hard work's been done over the course of a season. A lot of the messages have been there. The players have carried it out time and time again. So it's important that we're consistent with that stuff and we don't throw a curveball in at this stage of the season. So nice and relaxing, and we feel like we're ready.
One change from last time out, Ben Sanway makes it. How much of a boost is that for you, and what kind of difference do you expect him to make to the starting lineup?
Well, Ben's been huge for us this season. I think his goal return from midfield, you can see that. He won our Player of the Year, our Young Player of the Year, our Players Player of the Year. So he was a big loss for us, obviously, last week. A wee bit disappointing, but it was a risk we took, leaving him out last week in the hope that he can make tonight, and he's fit to go tonight, and he'll give his all. So it's going to be important that we have that control in the midfield area. Thought we lost a wee bit of control in the first half. Thought we regained it in the second half. Hope we start like that tonight.
What did you learn about St Mirren from that first leg that you'll take into the second one?
Well, not much that we didn't know already. I mean, it's a long season, so I'm guessing St Mirren knew everything about us and we knew everything about them. And these occasions, it's about performance levels and who can really rise above the pressure. I thought they were, they maybe controlled the ball a wee bit better than we did in the first half. However, in saying that, we still, created plenty of chances. They're a big physical team. They're fighting for their life, so we have to negotiate all those challenges. But try and enjoy it ourselves, and I keep going back to consistency. If we're consistent with how we've played all season and don't let the occasion get to us, then we've every chance of getting a positive result.
Are you expecting it to be quite a cagey, quite a nervy affair, do you think?
Not really, going by the other night, it didn't seem that way. It was end-to-end, a bit too open for my liking, but...
This is the second half though, isn't it? All to play for.
Well, again, naturally, you would probably think so, because there's a lot on the line. I don't think we've played many games this season, even big games that we've been cagey or we've been tentative. I think that'll be the message. Of course, you don't want to give up anything early in the game, but we've got to try and take the game to St Mirren. We're here to win the game, and it's finally poised, but it's got to be a winner, and we'll certainly be going out here to try and win it.
And just a final point, obviously you changed things at half-time, had a brilliant effect. Because you did that, is that in the back of your mind that you won't panic too early if things are not going your way?
Oh no, well you can. I mean, there's been so many times this season we fell behind in games. I said to the players jokingly, I'd rather we didn't. But it's credit to them that resilience and, to drag themselves back into games. Sometimes we've changed the shape, sometimes we've changed personnel at half-time. Sometimes it's just been just a wee jab that the players have needed, but they've found a way time and time again. So I think we're pretty confident if things don't go our way at certain stages, and it's never always going to go your way in these games. You're going to have to soak up a bit of pressure. Maybe you are going to take a bit of disappointment. It's important just to keep calm heads and find your way at the problem, and more often than not, we've done that this season.
Mark, good luck.
Thanks.
Mark Wilson sounding pretty relaxed, and he was making it clear that as far as he was concerned, that was important over the last few days, keeping the players relaxed. He said they'd done their analysis, just like we heard from St Mirren, tweaked a few things, I suppose, just like Craig McLeish had said. But it was just Ian about allowing the boys just to kind of, I suppose, feel at home and be as relaxed as possible in the build up to this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was pretty similar, although I thought Matt sounded a bit more relaxed. But when we talked about the curveball and training at Firhill, I spoke to Alan, the legendary groundsman at Firhill, on Thursday. He wanted to start working the pitch on Friday, and he was absolutely raging that he trained on it Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, I mean, I think that, listen, he'll be delighted. He doesn't sound as if he has any qualms about Ben Stanley, who's been, I would suggest, probably Thistle's best and most effective player this season. To have him in the team is a huge boost for them. You're right, though. I mean, I don't think in the 2 or 3 days between Thursday and now, you'd probably, the subs would probably have done a bit more training than the starters, and by the time Sunday comes, well, it's the day before the game, so the starters would have done something a young year old, and they'll have done their video analysis, and I don't even think there'll be much to do in that, because they kind of dominate the second half, but they obviously could have done a few things a little bit better. But they seem very, both sides, have done their work, and it's, the bottom line is, Richard, when you cross the white line, I don't think it matters. It's up to the players.
No, and both managers will hope that the players are relaxed and can give everything that they have to offer. Just in terms of that, the curveballs he spoke about there, Rory, that makes sense as well, doesn't it? You don't want to be throwing something at the players going into the one remaining fixture, and a very key fixture at the end of the campaign.
No, certainly not. And I touched on it on Thursday that Partick Thistle are probably in a more comfortable position compared to St Mirren, in that they've had a successful season in the league. Of course, I know St Mirren won the cup, so it gives consistency in selection, consistency in message, consistency in performance, because the levels have been high since the early stages of the season. So there's not a great deal of need to throw in any curveballs or try and reinvent the wheel. Once you've got a good system in place, the players understand it, it can tick over. Yes, you can update things and adapt things and make tweaks if you wish, but no, you're absolutely right, Richard. For Partick Thistle, given how far they've come, there's absolutely no reason to try and reinvent the wheel at this point to get a victory, because they're capable of doing it the way they've been playing. Yeah, I mean, I think there was a key point that Mark said, and it is really accurate, that if Thistle do go down a goal, the players, it's not all very well the manager and the assistant manager not panicking, but the players don't seem to panic, and I have seen it 3 or 4 times from Thistle this season. I mean, we saw at East End Park in the playoff game before. It's not often they score a minute after going down, but they do tend to react. There does seem to be, I think it's a good Thistle team. I'm not saying it's a top Thistle team, but there does seem to be an incredible bond and atmosphere amongst the players.
Actually, we've seen that quite a few times this season with certain teams. Celtic have had to do it, and they've done it plenty times over the years, Rory. Hearts had to do it on a number of occasions when the pressure was on for them. I mean, it is, from a manager's point of view, it must be a real, it's a relief, I suppose, a bonus to know that you've got a group of players there that even if they do concede that first goal, they have it within them to pull themselves back into matches.
Yeah, and I think the role a manager plays is probably slightly understated in that. Managers in general, they deliver the message, and they garner the respect of players and their understanding of the players to be able to go out and believe that they can do that. And then over 5 or 6 games, the players then start to believe it themselves, and the ball starts rolling, and you do feel like when you go a goal down or even 2 goals down that you're not out of things, and that was apparent on Thursday as well. So Hearts, Celtic, Partick Thistle, St Johnstone, all the teams across the, and I've played in good teams who have not been successful, Richard, and I've played in some very average teams that have been punched above their weight and been relatively successful. So it all comes down to so many dynamics, but it's led by the manager. It's led by him putting things in place from the very start of the season and being consistent with it. And ultimately, if you are consistent with it and it's bringing success, the players then start to believe off their own accord that they're capable of doing big things.
Jane asked both managers, Ian, if they felt it would be nervy and cagey. Craig said it might be at times. Mark kind of almost laughed it off, saying, well, if the first leg is anything to go by, then it's unlikely to be. But I guess that will be dependent on the start to the match, and if one team takes a grip in it, then obviously their nerves relax. I mean, there are so many factors to be counted in, aren't there?
Yeah, there is. I mean, Mark was right, though. I thought the game the other night was really, really open for a game of such importance, and I think that suited Thistle at times. The one thing I'd be worried about if I was St Mirren was if it's Thistle that get an early goal. I think a team that's won all season, down a level, is more prone to coming back always from the goal down because they've been in these positions. But a team that's not used to winning, if they go a goal down, could the heads go down? And it only takes one or two heads to go down, and it filters through the team. So I think for St Mirren, that's absolutely crucial. But yeah, I mean, some of the playoff games I've seen this season, they've all been really open. I don't think many of them have been cagey. I mean, God, what was it, 5-4 game? Hamilton and Clyde?
That was incredible.
I mean, some of the games have been, mind you, listen, it's the way this season's went at all levels of Scottish football. So we're in for let's hope we're in for a many goals tonight. Who knows?
It's actually, I mean, for me, it's been a bit of a trend in knockout football anyway. I mean, Champions League, I didn't watch an awful lot this season, but what I did see, every game, it seemed to be both teams looking to try to win, and you can't imagine anything but that being the case this evening. Rory, surely both these teams going to come out with that same attitude?
Yeah, I would imagine so. I think it's written all over St Mirren's lineup. I touched on it, Craig McLeish touched on it, that Jayden Richardson is a more attacking fullback than Richard King, far more natural in that position, far more offensive. Paddy Redding will be asking questions of him going the other way because he's capable of putting good balls into the box. And then you've got your two strikers up front. I was impressed by Jake Young as well against Dundee United. Thought he was good. So if these guys can deal with the occasion, then I think that St Mirren will be out to attack and try and get the front foot and get the onus in the game. But Partick Thistle will not be concerned about that in the slightest because they'll feel like they can come here and produce a result. And the team line again suggests that they're out to win the match. So I'm fully expecting a really exciting affair.
There can't be many games, Richard, this season that there's been 4 centre forwards on the pitch at the start.
No, absolutely. And it is, I mean, it's always fascinating. I mean, it's nice at times you see different formations going up against each other, and you see the managers then begin to start to tinker with the teams. Essentially, it's two identical lineups going up against each other.
Yeah, almost. I mean, I think Fitzpatrick kind of changes the dynamic of the Thistle lineup, but yeah, ultimately it's both teams are 3-5-2. Also, that's a formation that's, I remember playing that when I started in 1997 with Clyde Bank. We played 3 at the back for 3 or 4 years, really pretty successfully, and then 3 at the back went out of fashion for a decade, and it's just in the last good few years that it's come back in. And it's the same with the type of players you have. It's the type of coaches and the type of managers hired. Things come in cycles, and this appears to be a formation. What it does do, I think, in modern football for managers is it allows you to play 2 strikers. So I think that's one of the big things.
Ian, where do you see Aidan Fitzpatrick? Do you see him dropping back in and being, if they are pinned back slightly, is he going to be in there dogging about trying to win the ball back and making it a 5, or is he simply going to not cheat but stay on the other side of St Mirren's midfield?
Yeah,
and if Thistle nick it, they'll get the ball into him, because I don't see it being necessarily an open play 3 versus 3. I think Fitzpatrick could sit the other side of the St Mirren midfield in the hope that they can nick it back.
He will, yeah. I mean, I think Mark is a smart young coach, and he will know not to tie. If Aidan's in good form, which he has been for 6-8 weeks, like really good form, which is probably one of the top players in the Championship, I don't think you tie him down to a certain. I think he'll be free. There'll be limits to where he can go, free to go down the left-hand side, the right-hand side, and support the 2 strikers. I think when the play's dead, he'll be asked to come into an area if they have a deeper, if St Mirren have a deeper line midfielder, just to be not going, mark him, but just be in touch with him, being in and around him. But it's essentially a free role, what Alex Smith used to call the F-about role.
Right, in terms of Mark, and he was talking about the squad, the Partick Thistle squad, he said if you go back to the first day of pre-season training, if you told the group, right, clearly you would love to get automatic promotion, but if I can tell you right now, you will be involved in a game of this magnitude, as he described it, to end the season. I mean, it's a great opportunity for them, quite clearly, but it also says an awful lot about Mark, doesn't it? I mean, Ian, we touched on this on Thursday night. The likelihood is that if he hadn't been at the club, then he wouldn't have got this job. What a season he's had.
Yeah, he really has. And, you know, I think a word for Alec Ray as well, who's just sitting along from us, who's banned. There's a shock. But Mark, he wouldn't have got the job, and he knows that. You know, he was at Brecon and Airdrie didn't do well. He has been, and I don't give out praise for managers willy-nilly, but he has been excellent. I've seen a lot of Thistle. I've covered him for the BBC, but I've been to games myself. And some of the football they played at the start of the season, they were obviously very, very well coached. And I think bringing in Alec with him was perfect, because I think Mark is the type that does want to do quite a lot of stuff, and Alec is almost like a link to the dressing room. Then he gets in around the players. He's got a very infectious personality. Maybe Alec is more suited to the role he's got than when he was a manager, and Mark's more suited to this role. But he's been really, really terrific, and it's a big night for them, because, you know, well, if Thistle don't make it through, will you see Fitzpatrick or Stanley in a Thistle jersey again? So, you know, we were talking about at the Cup final on Saturday about Maeda. Well, it's the same with these guys. You know, if Thistle don't go up, will they be at Thistle? So that makes a big, big game for me.
Actually, I don't know if either of you know the answer to this, but I'm always fascinated by the relationships that spring up or develop in football. And I'm trying to think, Alex Ray and Mark Wilson. What would there have been a history there in terms of clubs? I can't think.
I think just working in the media. I think maybe that's what we used to play a game of football at Rook and Glen. A lot of old pros went out. McCoy's went out. I went out. Alec and Willie Wilson used to come. Some played more successfully than others, of course, but they met then as well. So I mean, obviously the relationship's there, but the dynamic of the two of them, I think, seems from the outside. I've got no inside knowledge, but it seems to really work, I think.
Yeah, it has certainly worked for Partick Thistle this season, and they are on the verge, potentially, of a return to the top flight of Scottish football. If they do achieve that, what a bittersweet season it will have been for St Mirren, League Cup winners back in the first half of the campaign. It's been a bit of a struggle ever since, and if they go down, they're going to be left just pondering on what might have been. 8 o'clock kickoff, full live commentary coming up here on Sports Sound. And the highlights are on Sports Scene tonight, 11 o'clock on the BBC Scotland channel. Let's just turn our attention to some of the other news that is around right now. Of course, there's never any shortage of it in Scottish football. Before too long, we'll be completely consumed by the national team as they build up towards the summer and the World Cup finals. But of course, interspersed with that will be the various clubs beginning to make moves and beginning to shape things up for the summer. And of course, news coming out yesterday, there had been a little indication of it, that it would appear that Lawrence Shankland, subject to a medical, will be heading to Ibrox. The Hearts captain signed a new deal last summer, but it would appear that clause in it which allows him to move, if not for free, then for a nominal fee. It's I mean, it looks on the face of it like a great piece of business for Rangers to bring in a player of Lawrence's quality for a relatively minimal outlay, albeit there will be hefty wages, I'm sure, on top of that. The counter to Rangers being delighted, I'm sure, is just the devastation that Hearts fans must be feeling right now, knowing they are about to lose the talisman. First and foremost, I mean, it's a strange situation, Rory, for your captain, your talisman, your top scorer to be in a situation like that. But from what I gather, then it was the only way he was signing a contract last summer was if they had this included.
Yeah, and you know, I'm sure Hearts fans will have their differing opinions on that contract, you know, that stipulation being in there. But ultimately, Lawrence Shankland and his team, you know, gave them the season that they have given them, and over time they'll look back and appreciate that that's the case. And also, and I know it's difficult to see it from a Hearts player's perspective, Hearts fans' perspective, but I'm sure there's players in the dressing room would have known the smaller details of his contract and things, people he trusted and things. So there would have been people inside the club, obviously, that knew the situation. But in terms of what Rangers are getting for, you know, next to nothing in terms of transfer fee, if there is one, I mean, you could have a debate as to who the more effective striker has been this season, Maeda in the latter part or Shankland, but Shankland is by far and away, and has been for a long, long time, the best finisher in our country. He is a phenomenon when it comes to finishing. Right foot, left foot, finesse into the far corner, blast, penalties. He's extraordinary. Headers. For Rangers to pick him up the way they potentially will is huge, because ultimately if they decided to do that last season, they would have put a massive dent in Hearts, who I don't think at the time they considered rivals for the title, and would have bolstered their squad phenomenally. So I think it is, if it does go through for Rangers, an unbelievable piece of business. I do think the majority of Hearts fans will wish him well, but time will tell on that one.
Ian, I'll get to that, the more wider aspects in just a month or two, but of course Lawrence, young kid at Queen's Park, he was at Aberdeen, never really got the breakthrough there, a couple of loan spells. He was here, wasn't he? And he was at Morton as well. You were there at the birth of Lawrence Shankland, if you like, as a regular goal scorer. I bet it sometimes felt like it. That was when it really took on. A remarkable 2 seasons, wasn't it? And the goals he scored for the United back then, it's just astonishing.
Yeah, listen, Rory's right about the type of goals you can score. I've actually seen them all, and the type of goals he scored. One or two of these types of goals that he did score, I knew that it's not because it's at the championship level. If you're hitting one in for 50-60 yards over the top of a goalie, or you're making a near post run, to bullet a header in, or you're dinking a goalie, that's just really, really good finishing. I'm not sure I share Rory's faith that the Hearts fans will be okay with it, and but I think maybe in time they will. But it's a bitter pill, particularly after what happened at the end of the season, and I don't think anybody can say Lawrence. I know one or two things about it, but I don't think anybody can grudge Lawrence this type of move, and perhaps a lot of people might say he was due it 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I've got to say, if I were a Hearts fan and I'd watched my team lose the league in the circumstances that they did, and then just over a week later the star player was off, I would struggle. I do understand that point of view, but I just think he's been there a number of years. He's a club legend at Hearts. Whether this takes the shine off that, possibly, but as Ian has just touched on himself there, it's hard to, if he's going to go there and double his wages and go and try something new after so long at Hearts, and it was understood by Hearts and agreed by Hearts at the start of the season that was the case. Then I know from a fan's perspective it's difficult to see, but it is, when you consider those facts, understandable.
I think, where I had Lawrence at era, that there's a parallel there. I think Rory's right. I just think it needs time. Yeah. When I left here, I was at United for 5 years, and that's a long time for a manager. And a lot of punters were raging at me, but now, after being away for 6, 7, 8 years, it's a really, really nice reception now again. I think that'll be the same with Lawrence. But when he goes through Tynecastle for the first time, wearing the number 9 of Glasgow Rangers and maybe being the captain, I think you can expect to take some heat.
Having agreed the deal, it was out of Hearts' hands in that respect, as long as Rangers met whatever requirements there were. The question mark now is, and Derek McInnes spoke about this during the season, didn't he? He said, look, when he was asked, is this Hearts' best chance of winning the league? He said, well, I'm hoping we'll have that chance every season. So if they are to have that chance, they have to rebuild, they have to strengthen. It's going to be really, really interesting now, isn't it, to see where Hearts go in terms of a replacement and how strong they look.
Yeah, because with Jamestown and Derek McInnes being in charge and the Jamestown, every signing is a gamble. So with Lawrence Shankland, for example, if you've got him at Hearts next year, there is no gamble about it. As long as he stays fit, he's going to grab you goals, he's going to link the play, he's going to work hard, he's going to be a leader. He ticks every box. So ultimately, he's going to Rangers, and a lot of the chat at Rangers is about the expectations. Well, he's had that expectation of trying to win a league already at Hearts and been phenomenal with it. So he'll go to Rangers and he'll do his thing, and I've no doubt he'll be a fantastic signing. But when it comes to Hearts, listen, it's going to be interesting. Will they next season get within 3 minutes of winning the title? I don't think so. Within the next 5 or 6 years, I think that's a conversation, and I may be totally wrong. I just think that over the next 5-6 years, this season would have been their best opportunity, but I'm more than happy to be proved wrong.
Will Hearts go for Bojan Miłoski from Rangers? Who knows?
Well, look, Barney Stewart's a name that has been mentioned, and there's a young Scottish talent who's absolutely shown this season. First half of the campaign at Dunfermline on loan, and then second half at Falkirk, of course. It will just be intriguing to see exactly how that all pans out. So Lawrence Shanklin, we're waiting for confirmation. The suggestion is the medical may take place tomorrow, but it's certainly expected to take place within the very near future. And on the assumption that there is no hiccup there, then it will be done and dusted, and Lawrence Shanklin will be heading to Ibrox. One departure was announced this afternoon. Aberdeen club legend Graham Shinnie will be leaving Pittodrie at the end of his current deal. Of course, had the spell earlier in his career where he really, having won the Cup, having led Partick Thistle to win the Scottish Cup, he really won the hearts of the Aberdeen fans during that first spell. Went away down to Derby County, returns, it was like the prodigal son coming home. In the end, 344 appearances, 20th in the all-time list, and of course finally got the silverware for the Dons that he had done with Partick Thistle, lifting that Scottish Cup there you go, next season. He won't be lifting it for Aberdeen next season, but he certainly lifted it for Aberdeen last season. He has not played as much this season. Stephen Robinson making it clear to him, I want you to stay, there's a 2-year deal on the table there, you won't be playing every week. Can you understand Graham's mindset, Ian?
Yeah, totally, and I just think it shows. You probably know Graham Shinnie better than I do, and I mean, I've met him once or twice, but my past I've never crossed, I've never managed or anything like that, but Derek McInnes talks incredibly highly of him, and I just think choosing to go and play, I mean, is it an emotional return to Inverness? I have no idea, but choosing to, when there's a 2-year contract there, to take your first steps into coaching, and he still feels he wants to play, I think that in itself says everything about Graham Shinnie and the type of boy he is. Yeah,
I must admit, I'm not surprised. I know some of my pals are finding this very hard to cope with right now, just the thought of Graham Shinnie not being there anymore, but he's a brilliant guy, Graham. Spent a fair bit of time in his company over the years, and he's been absolutely outstanding on the pitch.
It's the season for it. You've Pep Guardiola, you've got Seamus Coleman from Everton after about 15 years. You know, it's happening all. Lawrence leaving Hearts. You know, it's do
you know what I did like about it, and I know we're talking about Graham Shinnie, is that how honest Stephen Robinson was, because you don't always get that.
Yeah.
He could have been selfish and just said, look, 2-year deal there for you, if you play and train hard you'll be in the team, when that's not the case. It's something which, you know, you don't often hear of. You know, here's a 2-year contract, by the way, you're not going to play all the time, and you're putting the ball in the player's court to say if you sign it, you know, you understand where you're at, and that's, you know, if you're honest and upfront with people, that makes for more often than not a happy player and a happy team. So you don't often hear of that, so credit to Stephen Robinson for being so honest about it. And actually, I'm sure he would have loved to have kept him.
Of course, and he spoke very well a few weeks ago when he was asked about this, and he said then, look, as far as I'm concerned, I want Graham Shinnie at this club. He talked about the attributes he brought as club captain, not just on the park but around the club, and anyone who's been around the club will know the impact that Graham has on and it's not just the players, it's he is so highly thought of there.
Yeah, you just don't, you know, you don't get many players like that, certainly not nowadays. You used to have one or two almost in every dressing room that you could just hang your hat on, and you know, the best thing you could say about it is, and I was talking to Neil Scally about this, whose son is the big thing at Rangers. And I'm going to say to Ashton, if he can have a bit of what his dad had, like John Hughes had, I could name a million boys like that, obviously Graham Shinnie, when things are going bad, the first person they look at is themselves. And I think that encapsulates, I don't know Graham Shinnie, but that's what it seems like to me. He's one of those boys.
I think the assumption is that he's going to do the Partick Thistle. I suppose what he did with Aberdeen, he went away, he came back, and he was warmly embraced. You just know that he will, because they will absolutely remember him at Partick Thistle as a club legend there too. And it would seem to be a very smart move, if that is indeed the move that takes place, Rory, to bring someone of his calibre, his experience, his personality back to a club that's stepping back up into the Championship.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't want to think too much about his success at Inverness, given I was part of the Falkirk side who went down with 5-6 minutes to play that day. But even then, you know, in that first half, we were outplayed by Inverness. We got our tactics wrong, probably. We went in at half-time. Peter Houston sorted things out, changed things, and we came out all guns firing, and we went back on level terms. It went to 1 each, and then they got a defender sent off. Tremarco gets sent off for a trip in Blair Alston, and we're thinking it's one each. And they've had a man sent off. We're favourites here to go on and win it. And Graham Shinney was the one player on the pitch that took responsibility, that you could see organising, shouting. And that's first-hand experience of being on that pitch alongside. Not that we didn't have that, but that drive, that inner belief, and it's, if I'm going to run, you're going to run alongside me, that type of idea. So, look, Inverness fans will love having him back, and just as Aberdeen fans did. And I'm sure he'll be very successful for them in the Championship if he does end up there.
Yeah, we'll bring you news on that as things develop. You would imagine that it wouldn't be too long before things are sorted out. So, a couple of big stories there. There will be more. And, of course, all the very latest football news. Every day, Monday to Friday, Scottish Football Daily Podcast. You can pick it up wherever you get your podcasts. And at the website, bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. It's not just quite as blistering here as it was earlier in the evening. Still very hot. Still the sunglasses are on as the sun makes its way around. Another, I don't know, half hour or so it might be behind the stand off to our right hand side. The Thistle fans were here very early indeed. They are absolutely packed into the away stand off to our right, and while those St Mirren fans, some of them were a little bit slower in arriving, they are well and truly in place now. The stadium is jumping, and to be fair, you don't see it like this too often. Even when Celtic and Rangers are here, it's rare to see the stadium as full as this.
And as sunny as this.
Oh, well,
Can't
certainly.
even see the away end.
I know, yeah, listen, it's absolutely fabulous.
I can hear it though.
You know, listen, I'm incredibly impartial, but there is something about red and yellow on a summer evening. There really is. But I think there's a tifo getting, I don't know what he's going to say, but it's the length of the stand away from us. The St Mirren young team are organising. I think, I don't know, I've no idea what it's going to be. Looking forward to it.
Wow, yeah, it's a very lengthy one. It pretty much stretches almost from one 18-yard box to the next. Not quite, but it's of that magnitude. So we'll see what that is. The players will be gathering in the tunnel down below us. We're just minutes away from kick-off. Rory, you said in the early part of the programme on Thursday night, this one is going all the way. Extra time penalties on Monday night to separate these sides. I can't imagine anything you saw on Thursday has gone in any way to change your mind.
No, nothing I've witnessed suggests to me that there's going to be an outright winner in 180 minutes. So we shall wait and see, Richard. But if you're asking me, I think it'll be a score draw and into extra time.
Right, settled in extra time, or are you?
Oh, I think it'll go all the way. Penalties, sorry, yeah. And St Mirren have got a fantastic record this season in penalties, that's for sure. So
it says, Ian's just pointing out that banner, through the highs and the low, will go wherever St Mirren goes. So a nice touch from the fans there, and well, they've got the. I struggle to read these things at times. I've got to say,
that's age, Richard.
I've got no idea what that actually says. They've got the black and white cards across there. I even trying the old trick of squinting your eyes, and I still can't work out what that says. If indeed it says anything.
I don't think it says anything.
No,
it's just a pattern.
Just black and white stripes, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think some of the group have got white banners and white cards instead of black ones, maybe.
Looks brilliant, though.
No, it is fantastic, and the flags, black and white flags, waving off to our left.
SMFC, Jane Lewis is telling me it says.
Oh, I think she's put it through her phone in a filter to get up with that.
No way, it's your eyes, Jane.
What an evening it is here in Paisley, and what a magnificent occasion it could be. It will be for one of these sides as they prepare to do battle for a place in the top flight in season 2026-27. Full live commentary coming up here in Sportsound and BBC Radio Scotland. It is St Mirren against Partick Thistle with Ian McCall, Rory Loy and Liam McLeod.
Here in sweltering Paisley, one final bit of business and one final prize, Premiership football next season. All the pressure in the world on St Mirren's shoulders right now. Relegation is staring them in the face as they go up against promotion-chasing Partick Thistle following last week's first leg, 1-1 draw in Maryhill. And it all comes down to this. On the fringes of Fergusley Park, Paisley celebrated long into the night on December the 14th, 2025, with the gleaming of the League Cup lighting up the winter here. And as magnificent a success as that was, Demotion would see it lose some of its shine 5 months on from that tremendous day for them. Thistle so keen to atone for a whole host of playoff disappointments in recent years that they've tasted down the last few seasons since they were reintroduced in 2014. As Saints prepare to kick off in the black and white stripes, Thistle in the red, yellow and black. Saints will shoot from left to right towards the away end in this first half as we watch from the back of the main stand behind the Thistle dugout on the opposite side from where the TV cameras are here. And Killian Phillips, who was St Mirren's goal scorer in the first leg, is going to get things underway upon the whistle of referee Nick Walsh, with John Beaton and Greg Aitken on VAR duties tonight. A match of massive importance for both these clubs. There's the first whistle, there's the first touch of the ball. It's rolled back to Alex Gogic, he plays it into the midfield for Davani, and he shifts it low out to the skipper Marcus Fraser on this near side. Long ball is cleared, drops to Mandron, and then it's played in field to Phillips, who loses it. And it's a long one here for Samuel to chase in behind left side of the St Mirren box. He's had to check his run, turn away from goal and turn it out wide left for what? Low ball to Stanway into the byline area. He goes, dinks it back across via deflection. St Mirren get it clear. But already Partick Thistle coming forward with menace in the infancy of this second leg. And that's going to have to be a warning for Saints, because it was one long ball, Ian McCall, to Alex Samuel, and he was onto it rapidly.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. I mean, it wasn't even a great pass. It wasn't defence slipping. It was just a kind of help over the top, and he's right in there. And then there was half a chance. Yeah, it was real good tempo and real good running power from Alex Samuel.
Just wouldn't fall for him. I thought he was going to hit it with his left foot on the volley, but it just wouldn't quite fall for him, and he had to check back.
I mean, Gogic did well to get back in, but at one point you thought he's got a chance to get a strike away.
Well, can Partick Thistle become the fifth side to seal promotion through the playoff, or will it be more heartache for Glasgow's yellow and red? They've been a bright start to proceedings here, though. It's a long one for either Watt or McPherson to chase down the far side. It's cleared out for a throw-in by Tanzer, and Thistle have begun this second leg on the front foot, that's for sure. And they've got a throw-in midway inside Saints territory over on the right side as they attack the goal to the left. Bold infield to Crawford, then back out wide right it goes. Person holding off his man, looking to play it down the line. It was out of play though, and St Mirren have a throw-in deep inside their own half. This is the second time Paisley's hosted the playoff final. Second leg, having managed to stay up against Dundee United in 2019 in a low quality penalty shootout, certainly with regards to conversions, albeit St Mirren had their goalkeeper Václav Hladký to thank for pulling off a couple of saves. Hugely important that they were. Throw-in will be taken by Freckleton, level with the edge of the centre circle in his own half, pulls it down the left side, and it's going to be rifled to safety there by Ashcroft, up towards the edge of the St Mirren box where Gogic manages to get it back to his goalkeeper, and it's a slice clearance by Ross Sinclair, who's on that emergency loan from St Johnstone. And as Mandron picks it up on this far side, he's moving back towards his own goal here down the byline to about level with the 18-yard line. He's done well initially to get himself away from the first challenge, which was Reading's, and then Stanway covers across and puts it out for a Saints throw-in on this near side. Ian, are you surprised that Ben Stanway's made it?
Well, I mean, when he told me it was a hamstring, so, you know, yes, a little bit, but maybe if it was just a muscle injury. I mean, he has been training and playing with it up until the first leg, so let's put it this, a huge boost for Thistle, even if they get 60-70 minutes out of him.
Just 3 into this as Sinclair plays it low out to his left for Freckleton, takes it for a run up towards the halfway line, Burns across it now, he's got company but he's managed to thread it to the overlapping Tanzer, though he can't get onto it. It goes over the line on the far side, and that's going to be a Partick Thistle throw in deep inside their own half. It is just a fabulous atmosphere. It is no seats to be had. It is a sellout here in Paisley, including that bustling away end, which is behind Josh Clark's goal off to our right. Saints pick up with Freckleton, down the line to Tanzer, back to Freckleton, to Phillips, first time ball out wide left. It's going to go behind for the game's first corner, and it's a St Mirren corner, won by Jake Young, who made that run into the channel on the far side.
Yeah, well, I think we've got our answer as to whether it's going to be cagey or not, Liam, because Partick have been up one end, St Mirren have been up the other, so Mark Wilson was right in his assessment. He didn't expect it.
Corner to be taken by Tanzer. He's taking it low to the left angle of the box. In comes the cross ball. It's a decent one, a header straight to the goalkeeper though, who holds on relatively comfortably. And Fraser got the final touch on that when it swept in from the left side.
Well, that's interesting, that, Liam, because I said so many times on Thursday night Partick Thistle were taking one out and not once did St Mirren play it short. They've obviously recognised that and they've played it out and the ball's come in the box, and that is a huge opportunity to go 1-0 up.
Yeah, you would imagine they would have sat down and watched that first leg ad nauseum in preparation for this. Mark Wilson down there with the short sleeves, to his left Craig McLeish, everyone shielding their eyes from the sun, which is beginning to dip off to the right side as Freckleton picks up and shifts it left to right of the centre circle for Fraser. He takes it for a run down the right flank and out to Richardson on the near side touchline. Infield low ball to Mandron, back it comes to Devaney, forward to Phillips, nice spin. He's beaten to it though, the loose ball was bouncing off Macbeth, back to Mandron on the near side, finds Phillips first time, ambitiously looking for Jaden Richardson, and it sails behind for the goal kick to Partick Thistle. It is 0-0 in Paisley.
Yeah, listen, great start to the game. I think Mandron was just wanting to get that bump back to him from Phillips to go and try and hit it with his left foot first time. It was a wee give and go. I don't think it was on with Killian Phillips, but you know, as Rory said, end to end completely for a game of this magnitude, it's brilliant.
The last 3 playoff finals have all been played in Dingwall, second legs of them. As Stanway picks up and shifts it over to the right. Long ball forward looking for Samuel, but Gogic just lets it drift across him, and then behind it goes to his goalkeeper. And Sinclair bowls it underarm to Fraser at close quarters. It was back to Gogic, under pressure from Watt, just to stab it out to Fraser on this near side. A little bit uncomfortable at times, that St Mirren defence. It's not just defensively, they've been struggling here this season. Still 11 goals they scored at home in the Premiership. As Young chases after that one, it's well dealt with by Ashcroft.
Just Liam on Ross County, they're another example of just how important these games are. You know, they went ahead against Livingston, get pegged back, and they're in League One now as well. It just shows you, if you come out on the wrong side of these playoffs, how it can impact your club.
They were 3-1 up at one point.
Yeah.
In aggregate, last season's final. There was 1-1 in the first leg of that one too. Livingston prevailing, beating them 4-2 in Dingwall. And as Rory says, back-to-back relegations for them. As the ball from Fraser forward across the halfway line is cut out there. It's Crawford picking it up back to Ashcroft, now to Lockley on this left-hand side. Drives it forward. He's asking way too much of Paddy Redding though, and it goes behind for a goal kick. It is St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0. We played 7 minutes.
Yeah, a little problem for Thistle, I think, this early. Marcus Fraser is pushing on, and there's one, there it is again, one pass taking all the strikers out. One of the midfield players isn't getting there early enough.
It's back with Gogic, midway inside his own half. Thought about the long ball and thinks better of it. Sweeps it with his left back to Freckleton over on the left side. It's another loose ball though. It's going out of play. Craig McLeish upset with that. It's a real waste of possession by Miguel Freckleton as he goes out for the Thistle throw-in, but they've not made the best of it themselves. Phillips is onto it. His long ball forward is going to come all the way through to Josh Clark. And interesting to hear you guys talking about who gets the first goal. The Thistle have reacted well to going behind this season, St Mirren not so much, Rory.
No, they haven't, and I said, I covered the Dundee United game here, I said that if they could get back into that game and win it, it probably would do more for them than winning up at Aberdeen after going a goal up, because it would prove to them that they can come back into games. They got to 1 each, but it's going to be an uphill mountain if they concede first tonight.
Gogic giving it away this time. He's managed to, well, I thought he'd retrieved it, he hasn't. Watts pinched it off him left side of the box, pulls it back to Stanway, rolls it to the edge of the area, a shot deflected just wide. Fitzpatrick hit it low. It takes a deflection and it whistles past the left-hand post. Partick Thistle have their first corner of the piece. It remains 0-0 and 1-1 in aggregate.
Yeah, Gogic just can't get caught in the wide area by Tony Watt like that. That's what causes all the bother. I thought Thistle should probably have made better use of it. We've got a corner now, but I thought Ben Stanley could have got his shot away. I thought we're right behind it. I thought he'd go for the curling one into the far corner, but poor from Alex Gogic, who's, you know, St Mirren's talisman.
He's done it plenty this season, Stanway. In comes the corner, it's very deep. The back post is a header back across the face of goal though by Thistle, headed half clears, an effort at goal which is headed away. Thistle get it clear. or rather Saints get it clear. Thistle coming back at them. It was Mikel Mandron who headed it away for the home team, but Thistle have it wide in the right, low ball across. Fitzpatrick is cleared by Gogic and out for a Thistle throw-in. There is no doubt it's the Championship side that have made the brighter start here.
Yeah, I totally agree. St Mirren just look a little bit nervous at times whenever Thistle get in the attacking third.
We've got a long throw possibility on the far side. It's been taken short in the end to Crawford. Chance to swing it in. In fact, they'll settle for that because they've got their second corner in quick succession here. Mark Wilson animated on the touchline below us.
Yeah, another thing as well, Ross Sinclair, it's maybe a bit harsh because he did absolutely fine on Thursday night, but from cross balls he does like to stay in his line, so be interesting to see if they can get the delivery right, Partick Thistle, if they can ask the question of him to see how he responds to come out and collecting.
Out swinging corner this time, and Saints have everyone back to defend it. It's clipped in towards the penalty spot area. So another Thistle head wins it. It's lashed to safety there. Mandron's in the middle, and then there's a header well wide. That was actually a really decent opportunity there. It dropped round about the left side of the penalty spot, and the header from Crawford sails harmlessly wide of that right hand side. But I think that's a better opportunity than Robbie Crawford perhaps thought it was.
Yeah, well, listen, Rory and I both think it's time to take it down his chest and go and try and volley it. And Robbie is not great at heading a ball, but you know he's got the technique to do that. There's no doubt about it.
Long ball for St Mirren up towards Young. Out comes the goalkeeper, gets his head onto it and knocks it out to this near side. Saints win it back through Richardson, but only momentarily after nicking it off Redding. The touch takes it through to the edge of the box and it's cleared. Bounces round about the halfway line off the head of Fraser. Flicks it forward, gives it away to Crawford, who tries to rifle it through to Samuel. It's blocked. Now with Redding, Richardson barges him to the deck. That's a free kick to Thistle. Not that the St Mirren supporters agree with the decision. It is 0-0, and we've played 11 minutes of this second leg in the final domestic match of a pulsating season, which still has one final chapter to be written in. Ben Stanway over the free kick on the near side, just back heeling a water bottle away as he comes off the pitch to take. Now a yard from the near side touchline. Stanway with the right foot looks for the big switch of play out to the right side, hoping a Thistle head engages with it again, and does, but it's headed back towards the halfway line rather than the box, and Jacob Devaney picks up the scraps and takes it out to this near side and rolls it back to Richardson, who side foots it back to his goalkeeper.
I mean, I think that's indicative of the lack of confidence. St Mirren team had a chance to play forward there, and he knocks it back 30 yards to his goalie.
And they've given it away again, St Mirren. They're up against it, and that'll be a free kick for a foul by Freckleton. Right hand side of centre, and in an attacking position about 22, 23 yards from goal here, Rory.
Yeah, it's a chance to get it into the box. I don't think we'll see any shots from that distance and that angle, but I think Freckleton's lucky not to get away with a yellow card there, because he takes a gamble and he just guesses which way the player's going to go and he wipes him out. So maybe being lenient because it's the first one of the match, the real first proper foul of the match, but I think he's rather fortunate because they were driving into the box there, Partick Thistle.
We have seen Hamilton, Dundee and Livingston twice come up through the playoffs. And those are the four occasions the team from the Championship has managed to win this playoff final and take part in the Premiership the following season. This will have been so close 3 years ago. Couldn't have been much closer. Here's the free kick. It's driven for goal and it just clips the side of the goal frame, ripples the side net, and it will be a goal kick in the end, and it stays goalless. But plenty behind that.
There was, I think Sinclair in the goal kind of knew it was going just wide though, and it's one of them that gets a new, but it was never going to go in the net. I think
I'm surprised he's done that, because they've caused Thistle, St Mirren, a little bit of concern and worry with really good balls into the box, and that was an opportunity to put another one in.
A long ball, Young with the chest down, looking to get in behind the defence. An important touch by Redding, gets it back to his goalkeeper though. He hits it long with the side foot, the right, and it's into the St Mirren half where Fraser nods it into the centre circle, and then a foul by Alan Campbell there on Fitzpatrick, and that will be a free kick to Partick Thistle just inside their own half.
Yeah, there's no need to commit that foul. He's going backwards, he's back to goal, he's under no threat whatsoever, and he trips him up and just gives comfortable possession back to Thistle.
There's two changes for Saints from the first leg, with Richardson and Young coming in for O'Hara and King, Stanway in for Chalmers, and Thistle's only change. Samuel plays it back, but he's given it away to Phillips, who passes it back to Campbell, who slices it out for a throw into Partick Thistle over on the far side. Saints look racked with nerves.
I think that's absolutely true. I think it looks like a team from a lower level that's been winning all season against a team from a higher level that's been losing most of the season, particularly the last half of it, since the cup final, as it seems.
Yeah, they kind of fell off a cliff there, even when Stephen Robinson was still in position. And as Ian was saying, Thistle are in excellent form, clearly finishing second in the Championship. Tells you that. And St Mirren finished second, bottom of the top flight. Fitzpatrick, the edge of the St Mirren box, rolls it forwards, cut out by Richardson and given away again, and the clearance is blasted off Stanway and it goes behind for the goal kick. And the Saints fans are getting pretty edgy around about this year, and you can understand why.
Yeah, they just need to put their foot on the ball and make a few passes, because they're trying to play in areas, and I know it's the modern way to play out through your centre-backs, but if you try it 4 or 5 times and you nearly concede a goal where you're giving the ball away, change your tact, even if it's for 5-10 minutes, make a few passes, try and instill the confidence. Gogic has got it here. It'll be interesting to see what he decides to do here.
Thistle unbeaten in 12 since they lost here in the Scottish Cup. As Richardson chases, was he on or off? The flag stayed down just now. The guys here think this is only a matter of time before the flag goes up. Saints play on. Fraser with the cross ball, digs it out to the back post. It's headed away at the angle of the 6-yard area, and Samuel completes the clearance. Certainly no stopping in play there, so whether as the foul is given against Gogic high up the pitch there, as he had a little pull of Tony Watt's shirt. Had that gone in and gone to a VAR check, might well have been offside, but the assistant on this near side, Dan McFarlane, kept the flag down at all times.
Yeah, I think Gogic is indicative of the way St Mirren are playing and the St Mirren team, because he's their leader, he's inspirational, but he's had a really, really sloppy start to the game, 2 or 3 times in possession of the ball.
It's all a little bit too frantic for St Mirren's liking right now. 0-0 on the night, 1-1 on aggregate. We played 16 minutes. A long ball forward there from the free kick out to the far side. Campbell gets his head onto it and nods it safely back to Sinclair in the St Mirren goal. He's lost Ryan Mullen after Shamal George. And Rory was talking earlier on about St Mirren's record in penalty shootouts this season. It could go to that, of course, but Shamal George has been so important to them in all those decisive shootout wins that they've had in the 2 cup competitions this season. As the offside flag does go up this time from a long Saints ball. Thistle have a free kick over on the right, will be taken by Luke Macbeth as he rolls it back to Ashcroft at the edge of his box, and he plays it square there to Lockery on this near side. Rory.
Yeah, I think they lost in penalties to Arbroath in the League Cup, but after that they've had a phenomenal, I think they've only missed 1 actually in 3 penalty shootouts in the League Cup and the Scottish Cup, so really strong record. But Craig McLeish will be hoping it doesn't need to get to that stage.
Yeah, beat Hearts here in the League Cup, beat Kilmarnock, and beat Livingston in the Scottish Cup, and all the way to the semis. Came from 2-0 down against Celtic. That's one occasion Saints have shown character to fight back this season. 2-0 down to Celtic, took it to extra time before falling away. Thistle have the ball deep inside their own half here with Ashcroft. Clips it with the right foot out to this near side, onto the chest of Redding. He's got it under control on the halfway line. Low ball, square infield to Crawford, who loses out to Devani, but the loose ball favours Ben Stanway, who rifles it left to right of the centre circle. Out it goes to Macbeth, taking it for a run into the Saints half. Over on the right side, about half the pitch in shade, half bathed in sunshine, as the long ball from Macbeth comes all the way through to Sinclair. It's a waste for Partick Thistle this time.
There was absolutely no quality on the ball, but just a minute ago St Mirren, I don't know what Rory thinks, they're throwing right in front of us in the attacking half of the park. Manson was about 30 yards away from Jake Young and they just threw it down the line. He's surrounded by 3 Thistle players. He had no chance of getting the ball.
St Mirren free kick draws sarcasm from the stands, 3 of the stands anyway. It's rolled back there to Gogic, centre point of the Saints defence, rolls it low out along the grass to Fraser, infield to Devani, and then he is taking his turn to fire it out of play directly for a throw-in as he tried to find Richardson. Not sure how he thought he was going to get Jayden Richardson engaged with that pass.
You don't want to be too critical because, you know, I was far from perfect as a player, made plenty of mistakes, but it's 2 or 3 occasions now where they've just booted the ball out the pitch, and you can only put that down to nerves because they're good players.
Killian Phillips just been told to calm down by the 4th official, Duncan Nicholson, down below us.
Liam, you put it spot on, frantic. That's how you describe them. So when they're going into challenges, they're just going to give away fouls. They're running about like dervishes rather than just taking their time sometimes and using the ball.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that, but I guess with nerves, listen to managers and players talking about nerves and how that can sometimes help them. It's not helping Saints right now.
No, it's not. And listen, in the later stage of the game, with 20 minutes to go, they'll be out their legs.
Gogic gets it half away. It's Campbell, manages to shift it square there to Devaney, goes back to Gogic to the edge of his own box, and then Sinclair boots it first time, taking no chances. Long ball with the right foot, drops in the Mirren, just over the Mirren half into the Thistle territory it goes, and they've got a free kick for a foul on Jake Young, brought down by Crawford. It is goalless in Paisley.
I think he's fortunate there. I think he's on his way down and he just looks around, sees Crawford coming and throws himself into him. I think he's fortunate to get the foul there.
Yeah, two things kind of killed Partick Thistle's charge towards a potential title this season. The first of them was the lack of wins on the road. The other was too many draws, which I suppose comes into that bracket as well, because they weren't losing too often away from home, but just drawing too many games. Cost them a real shot at St Johnstone. There will be a free kick though to Saints here, just about 6 yards inside Thistle territory, right to the centre circle. Devaney rifles it high to the left side of the box. It's headed away. Fraser lets it trickle out for a throw-in over on the far side, level with the edge of the D of the Thistle box. And he's going to leave it here by the looks of things to Tanser. Scott Tanser in front of it, in front of the stands, the equivalent of the old North Bank at Love Street, opposite the main stand. Tanser, in fact, he's decided to leave it for Phillips for a long throw coming up here. Third in the queue, and it will be Scott Tanser. The ball is into the box as St Mirren look to break the deadlock here. Approaching the end of the first quarter of the second leg. He's ended up taking it short anyway, despite all that. And then Freckleton goes back to Gogic on the halfway line. Long ball, Freckleton out the far side. It's going to bounce, stayed in play. Yes, it has. Phillips as well. It's away from a couple of challenges. The whistle goes though. Flags up on the near side, and it stays St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0. The time they took to not just take the throw in, but to decide who was going to take the throw in, and then for it to be played short anyway seems crazy.
It's something that drives managers mad. I mean, yes, go and get it short if they've all set up for a long throw. They switch off, maybe you'll get it no problem. But then he throws it and bounces it right in front of the player, and he's struggling to control it and get it back to him. Not good.
Long ball from Thistle this time. It's gone all the way through to Sinclair at the other end. In the 22nd minute at 0-0. Gogic playing it short to the right for Fraser. At level with the edge of the centre circle, shifting into Campbell. It's a bad touch by Campbell. He gets away with it though. Breaks to Devaney in the centre circle. He's been hustled out of possession by three Thistle players, and a ball over the top for Samuel, who gives chase. Well defended by Fraser. Brilliantly defended by Fraser. He just stood his ground. Samuel's thrown himself to the deck looking for a penalty. It stays 0-0. Ian McCall all over it.
Yeah, I mean, it was an awful dive. It really was. Maybe Alex Samuel has hurt himself, but it's never ever a penalty kick. It's a blatant dive.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's not to say he has not taken a sore one. I mean, if you don't see Marcus Fraser coming as well, and you're not expecting the contact, then he potentially has hurt himself, his shoulder, but certainly not a penalty. I thought if I think it was Stanley just held on to it for a second longer, they had a runner on the outside that he could have played in, but he's opted to play the pass. And Alex Samuel may well have hurt himself, but I think Ian pointed this out earlier. Mandaron and Young, they're playing so far apart. It's Marcus Fraser's getting the ball, and Mandaron wants to occupy the space between the midfield and the defence of Partick Thistle, but sometimes you just got to get higher up and give your defender an option to play it into the second striker, but he wants to constantly come towards the ball later in play.
This is the 100th competitive meeting between the clubs here in Paisley. And as I said earlier, Thistle have already been here this season as Alex Samuel receives treatment with stoppage in play. And it was Saints who edged through in the Scottish Cup in what was Stephen Robinson's final game in charge in the quarters back in March. And Loonvaloo's penalty, Young scored as well, and they were 2-0 up at the breaks in Mirren. Stanway pulled one back on the hour mark, but it wasn't enough in the end. But Thistle acquitted themselves well that night, and I think they felt aggrieved about the penalty that was given against them that St Mirren converted to make it 1-0, which was a real game changer.
Yeah, I mean, at times I thought Partick Thistle passed the ball by St Mirren that night, and I think it was the night Devaney scored an absolute worldie, a great goal for St Mirren. I think it was Devaney, and
Jake Young scored, and so did Nlundulu, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? No, I thought it was a great goal. All right, okay, fine, but yeah, the penalty incident, yeah, it was.
Devaney scored a cracker at Airdrie. That's maybe
that's the one, Airdrie. That was a cup as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I mean the penalty was very, very soft that night, and I thought Thistle were the better team for most of the game. Alex Samuel's quite cute there. If he's not, I think he thought he might get a booking.
Back on.
Yeah.
St Mirren come forwards, clip to Richardson, right side of the box. He's done round about the byline, trying desperately to pull it back. Still alive for St Mirren. Shots blocked. Campbell the edge of the box. It's blocked too by Stanway, and Thistle are looking to pilfer on the counter here. Driving forward is Fitzpatrick. Rolls it low out to Watt on this left side. Mark Wilson gesticulated to his players to push up quickly here. St Mirren have managed to funnel back though. It's Stanway squaring it in field, and it's Fitzpatrick moving it left to right of the centre circle for Macbeth. He looks up at the St Mirren box, rolls it in field. It's collected here by Crawford. And out it goes to McPherson. Gives it back to Macbeth. Low ball in field to Fitzpatrick. His equaliser has this tie finely poised as you can get.
This is the part of the game that Partick Thistle are doing far better than St Mirren. They're not going anywhere at the moment, but they're keeping the ball. It's hot out there, it's warm, and they're making 4 or 5 passes. I know it doesn't come to anything, but they've got a little bit of control in the match, where St Mirren are just turning the ball over consistently.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a hot potato that St Mirren are playing with here. So, as Rory says, looking much more comfortable in possession.
Ian did point out as well that St Mirren's starting 11 trained in the sun, the full warm-up, whereas Partick Thistle went into the shade, which seemed to make more sense.
Yes. It's still really warm here as Mandron comes forward for St Mirren. Low ball into the box, looking for Young, cleared. As St Mirren tried to pick it up, but there's a challenge on the far side, which is going St Mirren's way. Oh, it's gone Thistle's way.
Yeah.
Well, I thought for a second there the ref had given it the other way, but it's going to be a Thistle free kick on the far side. It looked like a naughty challenge, actually.
Yeah, I think it's the right call. I don't think he's got a straight leg. I don't think his studs are up. Now, we are looking into the glaring sunshine here, so it is difficult to tell from first viewing, but I think it is a foul. I think he went in with a bit of force, but I don't think it was anything more than a foul.
There's not a lot of complaints, Liam, from any of the players, so I think he probably called that right.
0-0 amidst a vibrant atmosphere here at St Mirren Park. Thistle in possession with Ashcroft down the right for Macbeth. Low ball into the Saints half. Samuel with a touch back to Crawford, then out to McPherson on the right side. He's kept it in play and wins the throw-in. Little nod, seal of approval from Rory Loy to my right, just the way Thistle are trying to play the game here.
It was Alex Samuel's touch. It was fantastic. He took all the pace out the ball straight into the oncoming Thistle players' run. Didn't even need to break stride. So yeah, it's difficult as a striker sometimes know when to take one touch or two, and I thought his layoff was wonderful there.
Well, he's old Thistle one, isn't he, having been part of that Ross County side 3 years ago. And he's on the ball again on the far side. McPherson, low ball into the box. There's an opportunity here. There's a couple waiting for it. The pull back comes, the shot is taken and it's blocked. And it was an opportunity there for Samuel himself, just to the right of the penalty area. His effort might well have been going on target. It was blocked, and as it comes to Reading on the near side, he can't get it under control, and it goes out for a Saints throw-in, and it stays 0-0 here in Paisley, and we have played 27 and a half.
I don't want to tempt fate for Partick Thistle fans, but I don't know what you guys think. For me, it looks like a matter of time before Thistle open the scoring, unless St Mirren just calm down. I mean, Jake Young, the ball gets played up to him there. The ball's nowhere near him. He's turning around and looking at his man to try, make sure you get the ball first and then hold your man off.
Throwing St Mirren on this near side. Fraser takes it short to Richardson, spins away from Reading and lays it back to his goalkeeper, and Sinclair launches it forward up towards Mandron. Controls in the chest, does well, does his job, shifts it out to that left side. It's with Tanzer, left of the centre circle, pushes it forward to Mandron. Nice touch away from the first man, but the second is Stanway. He blocks and clears back into the St Mirren half, but it's passed back to Sinclair. Low ball to Gogic, out to Freckleton on the left side, clips it left to right onto the chest of Fraser. St Mirren fans willing their team on. Fraser forward down the right for Phillips, infield to Fraser again. His touch sits down Stanway as he pulls it back to Devaney, shifts it right to left of the circle for Campbell, who leaves it for Freckleton. Freckleton on the far side, Again, it's switched back to the right for Fraser, out to the touchline for Richardson. Richardson level with the 18-yard line, uses Phillips, pulls it back, looking for Devaney. It's cut out though. This has been clear down this near side, and it's just about hit the roof of the main stand above us here. And there's a St Mirren throw in, which they've taken quickly. Richardson to Fraser, who goes down, fouled by Stanway, says Nick Walsh, and a free kick right on the touchline on the near side. And this is exactly the kind of opportunity that St Mirren are going to have to try and take advantage of, is the set plays. They've got a big team, and this is a chance to get it into the mixer here.
I thought they were fortunate to get that. There's not a lot in that, Ian. He feels like it just drops to the floor like a stone.
Yeah, it's usually the one your last man does in the corner. With any pressure, you just throw yourself to the ground, you get a free kick.
Knocking on the half hour here. No goals in the second leg, so it is as it was at 1-1. Devaney will take, right-footed, bends it into the box. It's flicked half away by Watt. And then a foul there, the left angle of the penalty area by Mandron. And that is a Partick Thistle free kick, and a sea of frustration amongst the home supporters.
Yeah, I like Mandron. I mean, I've seen him a few times this season, but for his size, he's really put in there. I mean, he takes the ball in really well, and I think he's got a lovely left foot, but he's not dominant here at all. They're likely going to score a header now, but...
Well, I'll give you a very recent example of it. He was being slaughtered by the guys on the semi-final with me that day, and then he pops up with 2 goals that made it 2-2 to get extra time. Yeah. So he's got it, he's capable of it. Yeah. 13 this season.
Yeah, he's a good player. I like him.
In fairness to the guys who I was working with that day, he wasn't having a great game. There's a long ball forward there by Clark. Bouncing ball, Devaney loses out, and it's knocked forward there for Thistle. He picked up Redding. Now it's Fitzpatrick driving down the left side. Phillips just throwing himself at it, got between the man and the ball goes to ground. No foul, no question of one. It's pulled back to the edge of the area. Stanway is going to get a chance, the shot at goal. Sinclair makes the save and keeps out Crawford. Left foot effort, which was straight at the goalkeeper Sinclair, and it eventually goes out for a throw-in on the far side of Partick Thistle, level with the penalty spot. First real proper shot on target in the game, and it's Thistle.
It was a wonderful move, I have to say. Alex Samuel started it off with his layoff, which I touched on before, and then it goes out to the left hand side. St Mirren have got 3 out there where they don't need 3. They end up giving the ball away, and it's a wonderful 1-2.
In comes the cross ball. Samuel controls, he goes back to goal. He was trying to get Fitzpatrick onto at the edge of the box, but it's clear by Gogic, and out for a throw-in on the far side to Thistle. Bold infield to Stanway. Tries to work the 1-2, but can't get back onto the return, and it's Devaney back to Freckleton. Low ball forward to Mandron, just outside the centre circle to Richardson on the right flank. Out it comes to Jake Young. Young then cuts in field. He's midway inside Thistle territory here. Poor ball, really poor ball by Young. Gives it away, and Thistle are back onto it with McPherson driving forward on the inside right channel. He shifts it out to Watt over on the far side. Tony Watt then, it's a clip ball, looking to try and get Fitzpatrick involved, and he is onto it here. Fraser out of position, Devaney covering him on this near side. Fitzpatrick fires it back, he's done well there to find Crawford. Square ball to the left for Redding, back out to Fitzpatrick, takes a couple of touches and then rolls it along the 18-yard line for Stanway, who goes back out to Redding. Low ball into the box for Crawford, comes back outside the area, left side of it to Redding, plays it off Campbell and out for a Thistle throw-in on this near side. It's Mark Wilson's team looking the more likely. We played 32 and a half, it remains 0-0 and 1-1 overall. It's played short to Watt. Infield it comes to Macbeth, he's going to shoot, it's deflected, and it comes right through to Sinclair, who comes to the right side of his goal to get onto it and gets it under control, and it stays St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0. Well, Mark Wilson undoubtedly the happier manager right now, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Without ever creating any real clear-cut chances, but that pass there from Freckleton is indicative of what, I mean, he's just kicked out of the park, what St Mirren have produced in the first half hour of the game.
There is major concern on the faces of the St Mirren supporters right now. No damage done though for them. Redding plays it in field to Crawford, midway inside their own half here. Thistle, it's back to Ashcroft, fires it forward, looking for the run of Samuel, held off by Gogic, and it comes right through to Sinclair. Played short to Gogic. Midway inside his own half. Low ball up to Campbell at the edge of the centre circle, back to Gogic under pressure. He was, from Crawford, goes back to his goalkeeper, and it's a long one from Sinclair. It hangs in the air, drops down round about the halfway line. Nice little flick that by Young this time. Devaney's got space to run into. Options ahead of him. Mandron and stretched his legs, got into a good position, but he doesn't pass to him. Tanzer picks up on the far side. The cross comes in, and it's headed away by Redding on the 6-yard line. Richardson will get back onto it. Pushes it back to Fraser. Little chip back to Richardson. Fraser's continued his run on the underlap, but Richardson takes it down towards the byline. He's at it now. Cross is dreadful. Hopeless, and it goes over the bar and behind for the goal kick, and it stays St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0. I remember watching Jayden Richardson a lot at Aberdeen, and it was that end product, always at the pace, could always get into the right areas, but that end product just wasn't there, and it wasn't there on that occasion either.
Yeah, he's just trying to stand it up to the back post, but completely mishits it and it goes over the bar. It actually comes from Robbie Crawford breaking rank for the first time in the match, and he goes and he closes the back three of St Mirren down, whereas if you just leave that to the two strikers who are doing it perfectly well, and it left a hole, and St Mirren had a bit of space to play in for the first time, and it culminates in Richardson having that opportunity to cross and making a hash of it.
Watt's gone down, clutching his head, and a challenge of Marcus Fraser, so the ref's going to have to stop play. Mark Wilson is asking where the free kick's coming. It's not. It's going to be a St Mirren throw-in, but Tony Watt might need some attention here. You're listening to the final domestic match of the Scottish football season here. It is St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0, the Premiership playoff final second leg. 10 minutes from half-time in the decider to come at the weekend. Saturday at Scotland against Curaçao. 1 o'clock kick-off at Hampden, the first of 2 pre-World Cup friendly matches. On Sunday, the holders Rangers take on Celtic in the Women's Scottish Cup final. A 2 o'clock kick-off for that one, also at Hampden. And it will all be about the national team thereafter. Scotland up against Bolivia and New Jersey the following Saturday, 9 o'clock kick-off in the evening. And then it all gets underway for real the weekend after that. But this is Sports Sound, BBC Radio Scotland Extra, 810 medium wave, on digital and online at bbc.co.uk/sportscotland. Highlights of this decisive playoff to come on Sports Scene after we are done here on the radio tonight. It's going to go out of play for a throw-in as the game gets back underway, and Tony Watt's fine to continue for a throw into St Mirren right in the halfway line, and Richardson's bowled it back to Fraser. This will have been the better team, however, the scoreline, it's as tight as we thought it was going to be, Rory Lloyd.
Yeah, they've not peppered St Mirren's goal by any stretch of the imagination, but they have been the better footballing side, better control of the match, there's absolutely no doubt about that. St Mirren have had their moments, but really have failed to deliver anything when they have got into the final third, so certainly Mark Wilson will be happier, but really when you're on top in these type of ties, you're looking to score goals when you do have that period of domination.
St Mirren looking to score goals, but they were the lowest scorers in the top flight. Just 30 from their 38 league games, and as we were saying earlier, just 11 of them here, which is pretty remarkable. And a couple of those recently in a win over Aberdeen. Obviously they scored on the final day here against Dundee United. It's a remarkably poor goal scoring return in your home games, so you kind of suspected St Mirren were going to win this game in normal time tonight.
He's asking
only
for
by the odd goal.
Sorry, Liam. He's asking for movement in front of him there, Gogic. But what ends up happening is Jake Young comes all the way into his own half. It's Devaney and Phillips. They need to move to try and get on the ball. They're all playing behind the midfield, and it's given no options at all. And there we go. That's what they're looking for. The one into Hillian Phillips.
Phillips has it here, fires it forward, looking to try and get Richardson involved. The goalkeeper comes and smothers at his feet. At the left angle of his 6-yard box, and it stays Saints 0, Thistle 0, and 1-1 on aggregate.
Yeah, listen, as much as Thistle have been better, there's been no chances whatsoever in the game.
One shot from Crawford, I suppose.
Yeah, a shot, but the goalie's got to be comfortable with that. I just think the quality from both teams has been pretty poor. I think Thistle have been better, definitely, but yeah, quite poor so far.
Given how high the stakes are, you would imagine the pressure will only intensify with every passing minute. It's played back to Clark for Thistle, the goalkeeper, first time the on-loan Celtic man with the right foot. The header from Freckleton comes forward towards Mandron, beaten in the jump by Macbeth. And when the ball settles, it settles at the feet of Killian Phillips. He's driving forward, shifts it to the left for Mandron, who goes for goal, and it's across the face and wide. of that right-hand post. That's better from St Mirren, and when you see how close Mandron was there, he's probably within his rights to have a go, the Saints' top scorer. It stays 0-0 though. Ian McCall.
Yeah, good movement away from the centre-back, and a nice little pass from Killian Phillips, who found himself, you know, in front of the Thistle midfield, behind it, laid him in, and he had every right to shoot, Liam. I think it was always going to be hard. You're more liable to score from that if you're curling the ball in the way, and he's just went for a drill, and it's just missed. But it was a good effort at goal.
Clark was long with the right foot up towards Samuel. It's the first real attempt by St Mirren in the game, but here's Tony Watt at the other end. He's at the edge of the box, turns it to his right. Wasn't a great ball though, he's giving it straight to Phillips. Campbell battling for it, winning it and finding Devaney to his right. Devaney looks to try and release Young, takes a little nick off a Thistle player, take the momentum away from that attack, but they've got it back. Devaney to Mandron, poor ball again, trying to get it in behind for Phillips on the left, couldn't quite find him. However, has been a little bit better from Saints in the last few minutes. But here come Thistle driving down the left of the Saints box here with Watt. Oh, it's a brilliant sprint by Watt, gets to the byline, pulls it back across, breaks to the edge of the area as a shot's deflected, and it aids the goalkeeper from McPherson, Mark Wilson, down there, making fists from both hands there in frustration, because he thought they were in just for a moment. It stays Saints 0, Thistle 0.
Yeah, listen, that was a good opportunity. I mean, it was a good opportunity for St Mirren, just a poor pass, although Phillips went ahead of the ball way too early to get the ball from Mandron.
Lovely turn from Watt. He's such an intelligent football player.
Yeah, I mean, he's just carved that chance for himself there, by himself. Here comes St Mirren up the other end on the left with Campbell. Short ball infield to Devaney, low to the right angle of the box here for Richardson. Richardson stabs it through, chance Mandron, pulls it back across, it's Phillips on the penalty spot, he turns with his shot, is weak, and it's held on to by Josh Clark, and it stays Saints 0, Thistle 0. But as I said, St Mirren have been better in the last 5 minutes.
Absolutely, a lot better there. I just felt like Killian Phillips maybe took a wee bit too long to spin and get a strike away.
He wanted chances, Ian. He said there was a lack of them. Well, it's been up one end to the other there. Tony Watt pulling an iron out the fire, and you know, if you're pulling Gogic out into that wider area, that's exactly what you want from a Partick Thistle point of view, and then you can get the ball into the box and the big man's missing. But that's terrible again for Phillips. I'm just trying to force things, but up the other end, opportunity for St Mirren as well.
And Killian Phillips there was named in the Ireland squad for their friendlies, which are coming up against Qatar and Canada, as a switch of play just about caused a situation for Saints. Freckleton slipped and it went through him, but fortunately from their point of view Thistle can make nothing of it. Breaks to Fraser on this near side, long ball, the chase is on for Young, but he's not going to get there, right through to Clark. It is St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0 here in Paisley on a nervy old night in the evening sunshine in Renfrewshire.
How do you deal with that, Ian? Because it's not tactical from St Mirren. It's not, the players have got good quality on the pitch. They're a decent side. I know they've not had the best of seasons. So how do you speak to them at half-time and deal with the fact that they're nervous as a manager?
Well, that's almost impossible. I mean, you maybe try and freshen things up, make 2 or 3 changes, but you'd be loath to do that when you're still very much in the game. Because the one thing I think Craig will be thinking is that we've not been great, but you know what, Thistle have edged it, but they've not exactly cut us open. There's not been many times they've played through us. So I mean, as long as it stays like this, you know, they've just got to lift their levels. But how they get rid of the nerves, that's just up to an individual. I mean, you know, the best way to do it is to score to take the lead.
It's going to be a throw into St Mirren on this near side, and Nick Walsh isn't happy with where Marcus Fraser was trying to take it from. He will now, as we creep closer to half-time, just a couple of minutes in the 45 still to play. It remains 1-1 on aggregate. And 2 goals coming in either half at Firhill on Thursday. As Phillips gave St Mirren the lead, Fitzpatrick cancelling that out in the second half. There will be a free kick to St Mirren here, despite the fact that it's the Thistle player Luke Macbeth who appears to come off the worst. He's back on his feet, but he's limping. Free kick St Mirren, Devaney's over it. Plenty in black and white have committed themselves forward for this. And Devaney come up with high line by Partick Thistle, outside their box. This free kick's about 8 yards inside the half, but Devaney's free kick was horribly wrong. as he side foots it straight out for a goal kick down this near side. He was trying to find Young peeling off his man inside the box. It was behind for the goal kick and stays 0-0.
To be fair to Devaney, if that's been worked on in training and it's something they've worked on and the player's not made the run he should have, it makes Devaney look really, really stupid. However, it's difficult to know whether it was worked on or whether it was just a terrible pass.
It's going to be a minimum of 2 added as it stands, the end of the first half, which is goalless. Thistle up the pitch here. Fitzpatrick rolls it to the edge of the box. First time by Stanley, tried to return it, gives it straight to Fraser, who clears, but Young wasn't strong enough in the challenge and it nicked off him there by Lochray. And Thistle have it back. It's played out to the right side. That'll be a free kick for a foul by Scott Tanser on Ben McPherson. And that is almost a bit level with the edge of the D of the St Mirren box. A chance to load the penalty area here for Partick Thistle.
Yeah, and it was a foul. I mean, Killian Phillips and the crowd are going bonkers because he never got a foul. It was never a foul in a month of Sundays. That one was a foul, and you're right. Thistle got an opportunity to put a quality ball in the box.
So desperate to exercise the goals of Dingwall. And plenty more ghosts to exercise since they were last in the top flight, and their demotion that felt unjust at the time. Out of the 3 teams, they, Hearts and Stranraer, you kind of felt Thistle were the worst hit by that, given the games in hand they had on Queen of the South, who were catchable. In comes the free kick, headed away there, 2 minutes confirmed, as I say, and then at the edge of the box it's lumped to safety by Fraser. Headed on the far side, finds Stanway, tries to knock it forward. It's won by Campbell with a head though. Finds Devaney to Mandron and back to Freckleton. Freckleton goes back to his goalkeeper. Sinclair out to Fraser on this near side. Tanser, who's on the right hand side at the moment, and he's on it now as he turns it over to the left for Freckleton. Tanser trying to get into his actual position. It's played forward there to Mandron, who goes down, no foul. Breaks back to Freckleton, rolls it back to Gogic. Gogic midway inside his own half. Out to Freckleton on the far side. Forward it goes to Young, now Freckleton down the line. Saints have plenty forward here. Richardson infield as they look to get in front in first half stoppage time. Out to Tanser, in comes the cross ball. Mandron gets it on the chest and the right foot, he's on the left foot, but he can't stab it back across. Blocked there by Lochray. Devaney picks up, level the 18-yard line, back to Mandron, low ball to Campbell, first time, and he gives it straight to the goalkeeper. He's trying to cushion it and caressing it in the path of Richardson, and it goes right through to Clark, and it stays St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0 on the night.
That was good play by St Mirren though. Up until, I mean, Mandron's just got to go for it with his right foot. Just go and put your laces through and try and score a goal.
Final 15 seconds of the first half of the second leg. It will be a goal kick to St Mirren as Thistle launched it forward. It goes straight out, and it's going to be a goal kick to the home team. Nick Walsh has had a look at the watch, and he'll be blowing the half-time whistle, I suspect, right about now. Yeah, St Mirren fans not convinced that they're going to be playing Premiership football next season, going by that reaction and going by large spells of that first half, where they've looked so jittery. Relegation is staring at them. Partick Thistle have been pretty decent when they've been on the ball. They've been better than St Mirren when they've been in possession, and they forced a couple of opportunities. Those Saints had a couple towards the end of that first half. Robbie Crawford with an effort at goal. We saw Ben McPherson have a pop as well. Neither of them really threatening though. Up the other end, Mandron and Phillips. The first probably St Mirren's best opportunity is Mandron smashed it across the face of goal when the wrong side of the post as far as he was concerned though. But it's as we were at full time in Maryhill, at half time in Paisley. It is St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0, and it remains goalless on aggregate.
Scottish football lives here.
This is Sports Sound.
That is a beautiful finish!
From BBC Radio Scotland. Coming
Coming soon to Radio Scotland Afternoons. Grant Stott and Arlene Stewart.
Grant, why should we listen to your show Monday to Thursday on Radio Scotland?
I think what's exciting me the most is that I'll be able to tap into a lot of my passions. I love the Fringe, for example, a big fan of theatre, and of course I'm a massive music fan. I love the telly, podcasts, all the stuff that gets me going is going to be in the show. Arlene, what are you going to bring on a Friday afternoon?
I hope to bring energy, because it'll be like hanging out with a pal. It'll be entertaining, it'll be informative, fun, it'll have great guests across all of the arts, and I'm so excited to get stuck in.
Radio Scotland Afternoons. Grant Stott Monday to Thursday and Arlene Stewart on Fridays. Coming soon to BBC Radio Scotland.
Good evening and a very warm welcome from me, Richard Gordon, after 45 minutes that have given us no further clues as to which of these sides will be playing in the top flight. Well, maybe a few clues, because Partick Thistle have certainly been the better of the sides, but neither has been able to find the net. Remember, highlights tonight at 11 o'clock on the BBC Scotland Channel Sports Scene with the second leg of the Premiership playoff final. Whether it will be long finished by the time they come on air remains to be seen, because it is tight. And I think it would be fair to say, Ian, wouldn't it, that Partick Thistle, while it hasn't been a classic, have certainly looked the better of the two.
Yeah, they look the team that's more used to winning, and I think they certainly were the better team in the first half. But without ever, I think we said it in commentary, Richard, without ever creating any great opportunities. I mean, there was one or two for Thistle, one or two, but you could class them as half chances, no more than that. If Mandron sticks his in with his left foot, that's a 20-yard from an angle, so it'll be a really good goal. Listen, it's been poor quality, but Thistle, I think their quality has been a bit better than St Mirren, and St Mirren just seem, Liam mentioned it earlier about being frantic. That's exactly how they look. The two, for me, one of the big things is the two strikers for St Mirren. They're just playing way, way too far apart. At times they're 30 yards apart. I know Mandron likes to drift in their little areas, and I like him. I think he's a good player. But at times you've got to play as a two. You've got to get closer to each other and play off each other. And I think that's the thing that the Thistle strikers can do. So, listen, to sum it up, Thistle have edged it, and they have been the better side. They've looked the more confident side. But they're still absolutely, as the scoreline reflects, nothing in the game.
No, we heard from both managers, and Jane asked both managers beforehand, Rory, do you think it will be edgy? Do you think it'll be nervy? And Craig McLeish did say, well, maybe at times, but I mean, his side have looked, for a large part of that first half, they have looked on edge, haven't they? Yeah,
I mean, in terms of the game being edgy, there have been opportunities, not so much clear-cut opportunities, but opportunities in the box and down the sides and things like that to try and create opportunities, and the quality's been lacking. So any opportunities that have presented themselves, generally speaking, there has been no outlier, have come from mistakes from the other team, and that does come from nerves. St Mirren especially really do look nervy. Jake Young, I think, has struggled at times. I watched him against Dundee United. I thought he was good. I also think he's right under the manager's nose, and sometimes these things just stick in a manager's brain. So it'll be interesting to see if he does make any changes at half-time. I'm inclined to think he'll maybe give them 5-10 minutes, but I think he'll start to ring the changes if there's signs of nerves in that start of that second half. But Thistle, as good as they've been, haven't really looked like scoring. So, as you've said, we're no closer to understanding who's going to be the team competing in the top league next year.
Actually, there was booing. I mean, we saw that banner that came up from the St Mirren fans beforehand. Wherever we go, we're with St Mirren all the way, sort of thing.
That did well.
They were booed off at half-time by a section of the support. I've got to say, one thing that struck me about Thistle, I think a lot of what they've done is very good. The final ball generally has been poor. The passes have been either underhit or overhit. Ben Stanley has been particularly guilty of that at times, despite the season that he's had.
He has. I mean, I think working the ball into areas wider and in behind the strikers and getting it into the strikers' feet, I think they've done a lot of that things quite well, but the final little part, which usually is the thing that leads to a chance to score a goal, hasn't quite been there. And you're right, Ben has been guilty of that. I thought Robbie Crawford was guilty of it. I think Tony Watt's been guilty. He did one incredible bit of skill that I loved, but he's been a little bit loose with his passing. I think that's all over. I mean, the St Mirren players as well as the Thistle players. Thistle have just been that bit more composed in the middle of the pitch. They've had more options in the middle of the pitch, whereas St Mirren at times, their midfield players go way too high, way too early.
It's almost as if St Mirren are between two playing styles, Richard. It's the, Stephen Robinson, as much as it frustrated him, their whole idea was get the ball wide to your wing backs, take a touch, get the ball in the box, get down the sides, put it in, make sure on this occasion Young, Mandron are in the box to try and score a goal. And then Craig McLeish came in and he wanted to try and build through the thirds a little bit more, and at this moment in time they're not doing either. I think they need to pick one and decide, right, are we going to go a little bit more direct and put Thistle under right good pressure, or are we going to be braver on the ball and make decisions that are maybe going to put the ball at risk at times but actually work the ball up the thirds? Because at this moment in time it doesn't look like they know. They look very unsure as to what they're actually meant to be doing.
The sun has just about dipped down behind the standoff to our right, which, and it's not often you have to say this in Scottish football, but it will be nice to get a bit of relief from there. The sprinklers are on to ensure that there's enough moisture in the pitch there, and the players, of course, will be just listening in to the two managers. They'll be getting a guide as to what they are looking for in the second half. Plenty of options on the benches for both teams to make changes should they feel it necessary at the interval or indeed in the early part of the second half. Players will be back out shortly, so we'll talk more about the game in a moment or two. Just a word about some news that's come in while we've been on air. The first half commentary, I did give Ian just a quick sneak preview of the online feed there. Queen of the South have announced that Nicky Clark is to be their new manager, their player manager. You'd imagine he might need an experienced assistant manager alongside him. Well, it just so happens that he knows someone who fits the bill. His dad, Sandy, is going to be the assistant manager at Queen of the South. Third time, he's twice been there under Alan Johnson. Sandy, of course, has been at Albion Rovers, and he will be returning to Palmerston. So Nicky, player manager, Sandy and his assistants, and there's additional coaching back up there. I think it would be fair to say that's probably an appointment that surprised you, Ian, when I showed you that.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I mean, I don't really know Nicky, but I know he'd an unbelievable season there for Queen of the South as my home team, obviously. When they won I think it was under Alan Johnson. And his father, and he scored something like over 40 goals. Yeah. I think it was the season they beat Thistle in penalties in the Challenge Cup. I think it was that season. So, yeah, I mean, listen, that's come out of the blue for me, but listen, the guys down there obviously think he may have summoned. And listen, what we're watching with Mark Wilson shows you that, who knows what the right option is, and it might turn out to be a very fine young manager.
Was that the Challenge Cup final where Aaron Muirhead missed the penalty? I can't remember which player it was, but I remember what he did.
Right, we probably don't want to go into that. Okay.
No, it was a headbutt.
I don't recall it.
It was a headbutt, and an arrow. Aaron Muir was sent off.
Okay. Well, look, good luck to Nicky. I mean, it just shows you that you are getting on a bit when I still think of him as young Nicky, and there he is now. I mean, clearly he's towards the end of his playing career.
Well, I was very much hoping that what Martin O'Neill has done this season would bring older managers of a vintage back into vogue, but it's not quite happening out like that yet.
Not yet. Yeah, I mean, you're not quite old enough.
No, that's I've got a decade in Martin.
Well, exactly. You'll need another decade's experience before you get the call back up. But yeah, it's an interesting one, because actually Peter Murphy, I thought, did a decent job at Queen of the South, got them into the playoffs. They were a hard team to beat last season.
Yeah, I had Peter as a player at Ayr United. He was a terrific player. I mean,
very underrated, good technically.
Top player. I mean, he played at Carlisle for 10, 11, 12 years. By all accounts, he could have left there 2 or 3 times. I'm sure Sheffield United or Wednesday were in for him, various things. Yeah, I mean, I thought I think there was a bit of unrest with the Queen supporters. I'm down there every week because I visit my 92-year-old mother every week who'll be listening. Hello, Mum. Yeah, I think there was a bit of unrest with the supporters, but I think it was last season that they expected maybe a little bit better because the budget was quite good. This season, the two teams at the top kind of ran away with it, and Gary Naismith has done so well. He's put all managers at that level, League 1 and League 2, under pressure.
It's a shame as well, because Peter Murphy, I played with him at Carlisle, so I followed him his career and things in management, and how well he had to do Aaron consistently season upon season upon season to earn that move. And then, at one kind of poor season or poorish season in the eyes of the supporters, the board, whoever it may be, all that work you feel from his point of view is undone. But that's the life of a manager, I suppose.
Yeah, good luck to Nicky Clark. One thing that can be guaranteed is that there will be further similar announcements of managers, players moving, being signed, leaving. It'll all be spilling out over the next few weeks. And of course the summer transfer window getting up and running, and the deals will be confirmed.
Just seeing Fraser Taylor, the St Mirren player on the Partick Thistle tracksuit.
I saw that.
What do you think he's thinking tonight, Ian? He's a St Mirren player, Partick Thistle tracksuit on, he's in loan.
Owen Smith is the same. He's exactly the same. He's got the Thistle gear on.
Who do you think these guys are rooting for?
Oh, well, listen, I have no idea what their contract situation. If they're under contract with St Mirren, you would guess they're rooting for St Mirren, but if they're not, and St Mirren and Thistle want them, you'll be rooting for Thistle. They're in a no-win situation. They're best to sit in the stand and not cheer anybody on, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? And clearly they will be in Partick Thistle gear, because they're here. They've travelled with the squad. It's just that they cannot play
St
against
Mirren
the
stay up. The St Mirren track will be straight on.
Yeah. Really, really strange. I think the players will be back out shortly. Thank you very much to Liam McLeod, who's providing liquid refreshment for the commentary team here. And the sun is just about down. I don't know if it was much of an issue for the players in the first half. Certainly it became a bit tricky, just in terms of being able to see exactly what was going on there. But it will be much less of an issue in this second period. And it's just going to be fascinating to see whether the either manager decides to make a change at the interval, whether they want to leave it a wee bit, if there's any change, Rory, to the approach of the two sides in the second half.
I think Craig McLeish will be frustrated because his players haven't dealt with the occasion in any way, shape or form, and I think he will want to give them the opportunity to come out in the second half and show, given that it's 0-0, that they can deal with the occasion better. So I think he'll be disappointed that everything they've worked on this week has just kind of, over the last few days even, has fell flat on its face just due to people underperforming. So I think he will give them 5-10 minutes, but if I was Craig McLeish, given the importance of the fixture, I wouldn't be taking too much risk with it. If there's still signs, even if it's 0-0 after, I'm not talking 50 minutes, 5-10 minutes, I'd be looking to my bench and saying, right, let's get somebody on who maybe is going to deal with that occasion better, probably Mark O'Hara.
And the important thing from a Partick Thistle point of view, I guess Mark Wilson will be looking for pretty much a similar type of approach and performance, but with a bit better quality when it comes to the ball.
Yeah, just as you said, I think particularly from players backing up the two strikers, just that, Aidan Fitzpatrick, your Ben Stanleys, even the fullbacks getting high up the pitch, just that last wee bit of quality. Other than that, Thistle, but I mean, I've seen them a lot better, but they did okay. In terms of St Mirren, this is when Craig McLeish earned his corn, and this is when all managers earn their corn, particularly in a game this size. They've not performed at all. You don't need to go and shouting and bawling, and but you've got to see a very more aggressive St Mirren side with calmness added at the start of the second half of the 5 or 10 minutes. Because I think the St Mirren supporters are desperate to get behind them, but they're not being given anything to get behind just now.
No, actually, Craig mentioned that. We need to give the fans some kind of impetus, but we need it from them as well. But actually, if your team isn't playing particularly well, the fans, particularly in a night like this, are going to start feeling a little bit edgy, a little bit nervy, and maybe that has played a part. I can see that there is certainly going to be at least one change at the interval as the Partick Thistle players are out. Some of the players have just joined them on the pitch as well. Here comes the referee, Nick Walsh, ball in hand. 0-0 at half-time, 1-1 in aggregate. It is live on Sports and BBC Radio Scotland. The second half from Paisley, St Mirren against Partick Thistle. Full live commentary, of course, with Ian McCall, Rory Loy and Liam McLeod.
Yeah, it's Cammy Logan that's come on for the Jags in place of Ben McPherson. I'm not sure if there's a problem there, but it's a like-for-like replacement. The St Mirren players make their way back out onto the pitch as the sun sets off to our right. This balmy late May evening. It's such a massive game for both St Mirren and Partick Thistle. 1-1 in aggregate, 0-0 on the night. And it will be the Jags to kick off the second half, which they do upon the sound of Nick Walsh's whistle. Crawford rolling it back the way it's fired forward from the left there by Redding. And it breaks for Mikael Mandron on this near side. St Mirren, as you were personnel-wise, He goes back to Tanser, so Sinclair in goal, Fraser, Gogic and Freckleton, with Richardson, Campbell, Devaney, Tanser, Phillips, Mandron and Young. Thistle with Clark in goal, Ashcroft, Macbeth and Lochray, with Logan and Redding wide, Crawford and Stanley in the middle, with Fitzpatrick off, Watt and Samuel. And Thistle going left to right in the yellow, red and black. St Mirren in the black and white stripes. Let's talk about that change with Logan coming on. Clearly, it's light for light. Did you notice an issue with Ben McPherson in that first half?
I didn't notice an issue, but I have a strong suspicion it must be, because he did great in the first leg. He's done well tonight. I see no reason to change to take McPherson off, other than a slight knock.
Well, there's been a general consensus from the Thistle diehards that for the first time this season, in the last 4 or 5 games, that Cammy Logan is pushing Ben McPherson really, really hard. Whether it's an injury or not, I've no idea.
St Mirren have a throw in on the near sides. They go right to left, shooting towards their own fans, as Thistle are. Thistle can score. It'll be quite the scene in the away end. Here comes St Mirren looking to provide one of their own. Campbell clips it forward, but it's cleared towards the edge of the Thistle box. Back with Freckleton, he just launches that one forward and straight into touch for the goal kick. His manager behind him, Craig McLeish, put his hand right up to his eyes as soon as he saw where that was going.
He's trying to wrap it into Mandron's feet, I think, because he looks up, he spots him, and it just gets it all wrong. It comes off the wrong part of his foot and it goes completely the opposite direction.
St Mirren fighting to play in the Premiership for a 9th consecutive season. Thistle hoping to avoid a 6th consecutive season in the second tier. As Saints get the free kick right of the centre circle inside Thistle territory. Over there, and Gogic is over the free kick. First goal is going to be massive. Should there be one? Fraser down the line on the right. Richardson plays it in field, looking for Devaney. He's overhits it though. Campbell can get onto it, push it into the box, but breaks to Lochray. He's able to clear only as far as Richardson though. And they try to pass it to Mandron. Here comes off a Thistle boot and out for a Saints throw in over on the far side. And it's been a good start to the second half by the Premiership team. Fraser picks up on the right, straight though back to Thistle with Stanway. Thistle clear, picked up on the right side. Gogic, long ball, Mandron, lovely control on the chest, shifts it infield to Young. He spins, he shoots, deflected, and it comes right through to Josh Clark, who holds on. St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0, 3 into the second half.
I mean, across the game and a half we've watched, Mandron has been by far and away St Mirren's best player. He's been a good outlet, his touch has been good, he's made the odd mistake, but generally speaking, for me, he's been Premiership quality in a team that you could not really distinctively say around him have been Premiership quality.
Very even tie. Here's Samuel picking up with his back to goal, shifts it infield, opportunity for Fitzpatrick, goes for goal, blocked by Freckleton. A little appeal for a free kick for Thistle just before that as Mandron goes down. So another big appeal for a free kick on this occasion, and it's for St Mirren as Macbeth unceremoniously brings Mandron crashing to the ground and picks up the second leg's first yellow card in the process. It stays St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0.
Yeah, relatively unfortunate to go in the book. I think St Mirren had a couple in the first half that were bookable offences as well, but he decides, Nick Walsh, that is the time to give out the first yellow card. It was quite cynical, to be fair. A good turn by Mandron, and he was dragged to the floor.
Gogic takes the free kick short with the right foot to his left for Freckleton, and gives it back to Gogic, taking it up towards the halfway line at walking pace. Pushes it forward to Devaney, then out wide left for Freckleton. Faced there by Fitzpatrick, rolls it back into his own half for Gogic, who in turn goes back to his goalkeeper. And a long one by Sinclair with the right foot out to the far side, looking for Richardson, who does jump for it, beaten in the jump though, and it's headed out by Redding for a Saints throw-in, which Campbell was over, but he's going to leave it for Fraser. As he takes his time over it, bowls it forward there for Young. Passes it back into the midfield for Devaney, who goes back into the centre circle for Freckleton. Low ball out to Tanser on this near side. He sweeps it back into his own half for Freckleton, who launches it long with the left foot. Mandron going after it, and he's given the defence problems here. Mika Mandron, he's battling inside the box, loses out in the end. He's still fighting for it, but he's penalised. And Thistle have a free kick, but he is an absolute handful. Is the big Saints number 9, and it could be that he's a decisive character this evening. It stays 0-0, 50 and a half on the clock.
He is, I mean, and he's done well, and I agree with Rory, but I tell you, Leo Liscroft did brilliant there. Absolutely brilliant. That's the type of defender he is. He doesn't want to get involved in races, but I tell you, when it's just man for man, he does really well. Really good defender.
One ball forward, and it's cleared by Freckleton first time. Settles at the feet of Macbeth. So up and under down this near side. Scott Tanser facing his own goal, hooks it back up the line. Still in play. Logan heads it infield, and that would have been a foul if Thistle can't make anything of it, which they can't. So Devaney's foul is giving us a free kick, and it will be a foul on Devaney rather. It's giving us a St Mirren free kick on this near side, and Freckleton will knock it back to Gogic. And he takes it forward, striding up towards the centre circle. Uses the outside of the boot to find Fraser over on the far side. The Saints right. Long ball looking for Campbell. Headed away by Ashcroft. Phillips goes after it. Richardson picks up the scraps, gets it to Phillips, and then back in field it comes to Young. Good use of the footwork there, the edge of the box. Shoots and tipped over the bar. Brilliantly by Clark. And St Mirren have a corner kick. It's a fabulous effort. It stays 0-0.
Yeah, it was great play as well by Young. I thought Clark thought about catching it, and that's why he dived so late. I mean, it ended up, it was a good save, but it was a really, really good strike. It's a save he had to make, though. I mean, he couldn't let that one in.
He got slightly fortunate that the ball broke to him, but then he showed lovely feet to skip past the defender, then unleash a wicked shot with his left foot. But signs of life from St Mirren finally, Liam.
Scott Tanser with the in-swinging left-footed corner from the St Mirren right. Into the box it comes, headed half away, still alive, headed for goal and nodded half away again. Still alive, Devaney shoots a goal and it's blocked. You probably heard it in the background. 3 stabs at it they had there, St Mirren. And now the fans believing that it might be they who will open the scoring here, having a difficult first half. Campbell in the centre circle, knocks it forward to Gogic. Out wide it goes to Tanser, who's still over on that right side. Phillips is in the middle, Mandron's there too. Leaves it to Gogic, the crossings are headed at goal, but it goes across the face, and the frustration's there for all to see. As Young tried to guide it for that far corner, he puts it past the left-hand post. Goal kick Thistle, it stays 0-0 and 1-1 in aggregate.
Yeah, miles better by St Mirren just in the last 4 or 5 minutes. Just a real purpose about their play. It's actually a decent header from Young. I know you're looking for maybe one of the midfielders arriving late round the back. He's got a tap in, but much better tempo about it.
Difference it makes with the home crowd as well is quite incredible.
Foul on Samuel though. Meantime, Thistle have a free kick level with the edge of the centre circle, left of it inside their own half. And they're just trying to steady themselves a little bit here. It's been a difficult opening to the second half for them. They're just taking their time over this. Eventually Loughrey moves it infield to Ashcroft. And takes it up into the centre circle. Forward it goes, Fitzpatrick first time back out to Macbeth on the near side, and then down the line for Robbie Crawford. Crawford driving forward, gets the ball into the box. Samuel, nice first touch, shoots, brilliant save, Sinclair, and it's clear to safety there by Richardson. Excellent goalkeeping to keep that one out, because it looked like Samuel had opened the scoring for Partick Thistle. It stays 0-0 in 54.
You cannot underestimate how good that first touch is from Alex Samuel. It's coming across his body at pace, he cushions it so it's straight into his path, and he does everything right. He goes across the goalkeeper, who makes the save in the end. But wonderful striker play from Alex Samuel, getting across the front. Lovely first touch, pulls the trigger. Really unfortunate not to get a goal out of it.
And that away end, Ian McCall was ready to burst into life there.
Absolutely, hopefully no pitch invasions, of course, but listen, it's a terrific save. It's one he's got to make, but I agree, it's a really, really good striker play. The game's kind of woken up just in the last 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, both goalkeepers have been forced into action. Here's Killian Phillips for St Mirren. He's gone early for Mandron. Mark Wilson's convinced this is offside. Mandron chases anyway. He's onto it left side of the box. Pulls it back to Tanser. Low ball in poor. It's easily away by Ashcroft. The flag eventually does go up. It remains St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0, 10 into the second half.
That side of the game we didn't see so much from Alex Samuel on Thursday, because he was too concerned with fighting and jumping on the floor and all the rest of it. You know, if he actually gets his head in the game and concentrates on his side of the game, he's shown that he's a good technical football player as well, because he's got a reputation as being a bit of a fighter, a bit of a, run hard, win it back, etc. But he's shown he's got ability.
It's an early ball through for Fitzpatrick, and it bounces safely through into the gloves of Sinclair. He then bowls it to his right there for Alex Gogic. Forward to Campbell, and then out to the right side for Fraser. Down the lines, looking for Richardson's easily cut out though by Redding. And then batters it clear, having got it back. Fitzpatrick touches it back towards Watt, but there's Fraser getting in ahead of him. Works the 1-2 with Devaney. Back to Fraser, then back infield to Devaney. Sweeps it right to left of the centre circle for Tanzer. Into the Thistle half it goes. Left side of the box now, Mandron. Forward to Phillips. It's clear by Ashcroft. It's having an excellent game. It's played to Samuel just outside the centre circle. Freckleton trying to stick with him. He's been pulled out over to the far side. Samuel eventually wins the throw-in. Absolute buzz bomb.
Again, he stays on his feet though. And Thursday, I'm convinced in the first 60 minutes he'd have fell to the floor there. He'd have complained he'd never got a free kick and St Mirren would be on the attack. What actually happens is he continues to fight for the ball and he wins his team a throw-in.
Which is right bang on the halfway line for Thistle. Redding over it. Looking for some movement in field. And a couple there, Stanway and Crawford trying to make some room. It's pulled further forward though towards Samuel, headed away by Fraser. So Mirren get it clear. Here's Ashcroft stabbing it through. Crawford goes back to Stanway in the centre circle and he turns it to the right hand side of it here. And it's Macbeth, low ball with the left foot out to the right touchline. It's with Logan. Logan along the 18-yard line. First time ball back to Macbeth. And then a misunderstanding on this near side with Fitzpatrick, and he was out for a Saints throw-in.
Just any time there's any tempo in the game and it's built in, and we're getting there. There's one or two loose passes, and that's from both teams. That occasion it was Macbeth and Thistle.
It's out for a throw into Saints on this near side. Miguel Freckleton is over it. Mandron's making some moves ahead of him, but always favourite was Macbeth. Gets his head to it first, then Devaney lashes it up towards the halfway line where Redding meets it and kills the ball and rolls it out to the left there for Watt. Holding off Fraser. Watt on the spin on the far side. Down the line it goes. Watt's going to get back onto it. Level with the 6-yard line now. Outside of the boots. The crossing towards Samuel. Well defended by Freckleton. Still alive here though for Thistle. Logan has managed to pick it up. He tried to leave it for Macbeth, but went past him. Logan then gets back onto it and is fouled by Killian Phillips. And Partick Thistle have a free kick midway inside Saints territory, right of centre. 0-0 in Paisley.
Yeah, I think Gogic is frustrated because he used every ounce of his willpower not to absolutely smash two players on the edge of the box. He manages to avoid that, push Partick Thistle back, and then Killian Phillips goes steaming in and gives away a really, really unnecessary free kick.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for Thistle to get players forward. Again, it's a high line. Still at St Mirren defending it. We saw Thistle do this in the first half. And loads of players run about being level with the edge of the D here. Free kick is clipped in by Fitzpatrick. It's headed away by Freckleton. Next to the edge of the box, kept alive. Clip ball back in. The header from Ashcroft. It's well wide. The Thistle skipper. And it stays Saints 0, Thistle 0 on 59.
I mean, the game is far better now, but I don't see a goal coming. I don't see the bit of quality needed to actually score a goal.
Marcus Fraser comes forward across the halfway line. His ball infield, it was the wrong decision. He'll be regretting that now. He's given it straight to Fitzpatrick. He was covering Devaney, who was the intended target. Back to Macbeth at the edge of his box, now to Logan on the right, clips a long one forward and Samuel gets the flick onto it. Freckleton fouled by Fitzpatrick. Had to be careful there, Miguel Freckleton. Any slip and Fitzpatrick would have been in behind him and in on goal. He stays goalless. As that's played out to Tanzer, was in the challenge there. The left hand like he's gone to pocket and Scott Tanzer's going to be booked. A yellow card as he absolutely smashed into the challenge, and Robbie Crawford down in front of us. Free kick Thistle, yellow card for the Saints man.
Yeah, I mean, like Robbie Crawford was never, he wasn't hurt in any way. It's just one of them that he's out overrun the ball and he's trying to make up for it.
I think Mark O'Hara's going to be on in a moment, and that yellow card might actually have pushed Craig McLeish into the decision. Wait and see who he comes on for. Thistle free kicks, level with the edge of the centre circle on this near side. About 8 or 9 yards away from the main stand side touchline. 0-0 here on Sportsound and BBC Radio Scotland, extra digital and online. Fitzpatrick's free kick to the edge of the Saints box is headed away by Gogic. Then Young pushes it back towards his own area. He wouldn't have liked that, but he will have liked the fact it dropped to Fraser. His teammate who clears, bouncing ball on the far side. Devaney goes after it, goes to ground looking for a free kick he's not getting. Throw in Thistle. Signs of life, as the guys have been saying.
Yeah, he slips there, I think. I don't think that's a foul. It'll be interesting to see who O'Hara comes on for. There's a player down there actually.
It's Young.
Is it Young?
Yeah.
I don't see. Oh well, Udowu's coming on as well. He showed really good signs the other night when he came on off the pitch, so he did.
I thought he made a big difference actually.
Yeah, he did. I thought it would be Campbell's coming off as well, sorry. In the middle of the pitch, he's not really been in the game, and I think if you're going to go with Mark O'Hara, it's going to be Devaney or it's going to be Campbell. I think Devaney on the ball is probably slightly ahead, and they need that calmness in the middle of the pitch. So
on comes O'Hara for Campbell, and Udowu will replace Young. A couple of little half opportunities early in the second half to the Saints number 20. As he comes off, and on comes Roland Udowu. Will he have more luck in front of goal for St Mirren? And there will be a throw to Thistle over on the far side, midway inside their own half, and the Thistle left. Paddy Redding bowls it back to Loughrey. He passes back to his goalkeeper, left angle of his 6-yard box. Short ball to Ashcroft. Former Killie and Dundee man, Ashcroft. Out to the left it goes, and up the line. First time ball is played towards Samuel, gets the break of it, then Gogic smashes into the challenge he loves to do. Mandron with a little touch back into the centre circle for Devaney. Out to Tanzer, first time looking for Udowu, first engagement in the match. Roland Udowu on the turn, as well to shrug off the attentions of Crawford. To Devaney, to Tanzer on the near side. Back into his own half for Freckleton. Low ball with the left foot, side foot left to right of the centre circle for Fraser. Forward to Mandron, he's in a bit of space. Stanley trying to close him down. Mandron infield to Devaney, then to Mandron, square to Tanzer. Tanzer then shifts it back to Marcus Fraser on the right. What can Saints make of this? They've got 4 in black and white in the box. Richardson gets the cross in. It's headed away, towering header by Macbeth, drops to the edge of the area, and it's an effort to goal from Tanzer from about 25 yards. It bounces in front of the goalkeeper, who then holds on, and it stays St Mirren 0, Partick Thistle 0 on 63 minutes and 1-1 on aggregate.
There's times where, in just general build-up play, both teams, they can, and it doesn't look like much, but playing the ball behind players that are meant to be running onto it just to keep the momentum of the attack going.
That's happened so many. You're absolutely spot on. It's happened so many times in this game. A second an awful long time in football, and if they play the pass better, they've got a second more time.
St Mirren supporters are howling at the officials over there on the far side. I'm not sure if they think it had gone over the line for a throw to them. It has eventually gone out of play, and it's for Partick Thistle. Over on that far side, the Thistle left, attacking the goal to the right, and the away fans are bunched in behind, but they've given it away. Now it's Udowu, surely fouled by Fitzpatrick. He was. St Mirren free kick right to centre, beyond the midway point of Thistle territory here. Mark O'Hara already over it. He's taking the skipper's armband back off Fraser.
I don't know how he doesn't get booked for that.
I was about to say that. I mean, that's incredible, I know. I mean, Fitzpatrick has stopped. Aidan Fitzpatrick stopped. He's running on to the back 3, back 4, whatever, and it was a clear free kick. I thought it was a stonewall yellow.
Yeah, I mean St Mirren just got Tanzer. I know it looked a bit wild, but it was a very, very similar incident.
It will be O'Hara, right-footed towards the back post area. It's decent, off the bar, and in! It's gone in, and St Mirren have the goal! Marcus Fraser in the back post, turned it back across the face of goal, smashes off the underside of the bar, and it nestles in the side of the net on the right side of the goal. Are St Mirren staying up? Well, that's given them the lead back in this playoff final, and it is a massive goal for the League Cup holders. St Mirren 1, Partick Thistle 0, and 2-1 to the Premiership side on aggregate as they fight for survival.
Yeah, I'm actually really pleased for Marcus Fraser, to be honest, because he's had a difficult second half. He's given the ball away under no pressure a couple of times, but one thing he never does is shirk responsibility. He goes back, he asks for the ball again, he takes responsibility, he leads from the back, and he's popped up with an absolutely gargantuan goal potentially for St Mirren.
Great finish.
But good use of the word
Brilliant
potentially.
Finish. Absolutely brilliant finish as well. And he's right. He's had a bit of a howler this half. Yeah, you know, but he's come round the back there. What a volley it is. I mean, brilliant.
This isn't cut and dried. It sounds tight from what I'm hearing. So,
right, okay.
There's an offside check going on just now to see how this stands. Thistle might breathe again here. 66 on the clock. Marcus Fraser. My goodness. He comes up with some big goals for this club. Opened the scoring in the League Cup final against Celtic in December. It's just his third of the season. And it's an excellent finish at the back post. So he hammered it in off the underside of the bar. Didn't look like it was going to end up in the net, but the ball came back down off the bar and bounced its way into the far corner when it looked like it was going to bounce to safety. And there's a nervy wait here. Logan Chalmers is waiting to come on for Thistle. Are his team going to be one down when he enters the play, though? And the fact it's going on this long already tells you how tight it was. It's been given! Goal given! St Mirren back in front, as they were for a period at Firhill on Thursday. And 75% of this stadium erupts again. Off comes Macbeth to be replaced by Chalmers. Is it to be more playoff heartache for the Jags? Well, they've got to come from behind again, Ian McCall.
Yeah, I mean, they've changed it. They'll be really, really positive. Now look at a 4-4-2 with two wingers, with Fitzpatrick off the left and Chalmers off the right. So, yeah, listen, it was a brilliant finish for Marcus Fraser. A lot of courage after the way he performed in the second half. Do St Mirren deserve it? You know what? It doesn't really matter. They're winning in a game of this magnitude.
In finals, whether it's to avoid relegation, it does not matter. If it's for a trophy, it does not matter.
And the noise in the stadium, that was relief. I thought that was relief from St Mirren fans.
I've just seen Craig McLeish, I think it was Gogic who was speaking to hold up 5, as in the next 5 minutes, and he just pointed up the other end of the pitch. For 5 minutes, make no mistakes at the back, get it up the pitch, take no risks.
I've had a little look at a replay there on the laptop to my left, and it's an outstanding finish from Marcus Fraser. And if that's the goal that keeps St Mirren up, what a goal it was. The importance of it, the spectacular nature as he volleyed home. It always looks more spectacular when it hits the goal frame on its way in, as it did there. Man drawn for St Mirren, and Thistle once again staring playoff heartache in the face.
They've still got 25 minutes though, when you incorporate the fact there'll be some minutes added on. That's plenty of time. And
they've been down before, as we talked pre-show. Listen, I think you've got to say about the delivery from Mark O'Hara just on the pitch. He's come on, he's delivered a terrific ball to the back area.
Long ball Thistle, headed away by the goal scorer Fraser, picked up by O'Hara, goes back to Gogic, who rifles it forward first time with the right foot. Ashcroft wins the header, but it drops to Devaney. Now it's with Phillips, hooks it forward, and it comes all the way through to Clark. Thistle goalie in a hurry now. He underarm bowls it to Lockridge to his left, and then infield to Ashcroft. He goes out to Logan on this near side. Logan kind of playing as the right-sided centre back now for Thistle. It's a long ball forward, headed away by Freckleton. Down goes Devaney, and St Mirren have a free kick. And Partick Thistle, I've got a problem. 21 minutes to play of the 90 here in this playoff final second leg. St Mirren 2-1 up on aggregate, 1-0 up on the night, thanks to Marcus Fraser. And just listen to this place now.
Yeah, it can make a huge difference. But I still think from Thistle's point of view, don't get too frustrated if things don't go your way, if there's fouls given against you, etc. Hang in there with a belief. Just showing the pictures. Oh goodness me, it is tight, isn't it?
Yeah, we're having a look at a screen grab still of the lines that were drawn for the offside check. Fraser's goal stands could be huge. Feels huge. Just the atmosphere around this place. Freckleton forward to Mandron. Certainly playing with more of a swagger now are the Paisley buddies. Here's Idowu on this near side, challenged by Chalmers and out for a throw-in to Saints on this near side. Tanser over at level with the edge of the D on this near side. Infield to Devaney, back to Tanser now. It's with Freckleton, clips it forward with the left foot. Across coverings, Ashcroft, he gets onto it, tries to clear, it's charged down by Idowu. Tanser stabs it forward, but he goes behind for the goal kick down by the corner flag. St Mirren 1, Partick Thistle 0, the final 20.
Yeah, and listen, whether St Mirren deserve to lead, I'm not sure, but in the second half, they've certainly been the better side in the second half. I don't think there's any doubt about that, and it's been a real improvement in their performance.
Yeah, Thistle look a bit stunned right now, and they're going to have to shake that off pretty quickly, you feel. Otherwise, they could quickly find themselves 2-0 down, and another season in the Championship will be in the offing for them. Just look a little bit punch drunk just now.
Yeah, they do. It's taking the wind out of their sails, but I think they will regroup. It'll only take a corner or a shot on goal or a bit of a sustained attack to get the Thistle fans singing against a lovely turn by Tony Watt.
Brilliant. He came from 1 down on Thursday in Glasgow. It's played out to the left. Reading's cross is cut out at source, and it bounces behind for the aforementioned corner. Rory Loy was telling us Thistle were going to get pretty sharpish, which they have done.
Yeah.
Those Thistle fans, Ian, will be trying to suck that ball into the net.
Absolutely. I mean, they've seen this movie before, I'm afraid.
They certainly have.
St Mirren have got everybody back. There's not one St Mirren player that's not in there.
Fitzpatrick's corner, swept towards the back post, headed down, and the goalkeeper's forced to make the save from Ashcroft's header. Threw himself to his left, still in play. Crawford tries to cross, blocked by Phillips, and out it spins for a Thistle throw-in, level with the Saints penalty spot on this near side.
I think it's a bit early for the messaging to go into the St Mirren players just to knock it there, and there's 20 minutes to go. There's a lot of the game
next 5, but I don't know if that encourages them to be calm or not, to be honest.
Partick Thistle were 3-0 down, or 3-0 up on aggregate rather, with this time on the clock in Dingwall 3 years ago. They led by 3 goals, and yet Ross County took it to penalties and beat them on spot kicks.
Yeah, that was quite incredible that night. You felt for Partick Thistle, you really did.
I mean, I still remember Chris Doolan's face down on the touchline, and it was a game, it felt like it went on for about 5 hours as well.
I was covering the game and we had dinner reservations, and when Partick Thistle scored their third, I texted and said, that's fine, I'll make it, no problem at all, and I was about 2 hours late. Yeah, unsurprisingly, one ball forward, so we've seen teams in bigger holes than this, is what we're trying to say. Floodlights on here now as the sun sets away to our right. It is Reading for Thistle, driving across the halfway line, low ball forward, gets to the left side of the box. Watt with the turn into the area. Gogic gets between the man and the ball, though it's brilliantly defended by the Cypriot, who clears with the right foot up to the halfway line. Ashcroft's header out the Lockery. The challenge comes from Idowu, and it goes out for a throw into Thistle. And again, the Saints fans are incensed about that decision over on the far side as Mark Wilson looks to turn to his bench again. And we're going to see Gary Mackay-Stephen come on. We're also going to see Let Sosa come on, so it's another double change. And it will be Stanway, who missed the first leg through injuries. The last we see of Ben Stanway in a Partick Thistle shirt. You would think if it's Championship next season, it almost certainly will be. As he comes off, Mackay-Stephen comes on, the veteran. And also coming on to the pitch there for the final 16 minutes of the 90.
I mean, it's a seriously attacking lineup for Thistle now. Like, real attack.
Well, they're normally good for a goal. At least a goal. Haven't lost in 12 matches, Partick Thistle, since they were beaten here in the Scottish Cup. But here comes Saints again with Phillips. Midway inside his own half, out to Tanser on the left side. Tanser looks up, sweeps it forward into the Thistle half where Phillips gets onto it. Turns it back to Devaney. Left side, it's Tanser. Up the line for Phillips. Thistle claim offside. Killian Phillips plays on though. Driving down the left, up against Let Sosa, who's just on. Tries to hold off the Thistle sub. Phillips on the turn again, down towards the byline, wins the throw-in. Level with the Partick Thistle 6-yard line. Saints 1, Thistle 0, 2-1 to St Mirren in aggregate. We're in the final 15 of the 90 here.
Yeah, there's just a bit of a danger from St Mirren's point of view. I mean, Killian Phillips is holding on to the ball there as if there's 2 minutes left, so it'll be interesting to see how they approach the last 15 minutes.
Tanser with the throw into Devaney, back to Tanser. Makes for the byline, good shuffle, good cross, headed away by Loughry. Bounces out to this near side, Watt trying to keep it in place, done well. The Saints felt that had gone over the line. Well, Fraser wins it back off Samuel, just to the left of the centre circle. Watt battling for it and then losing it, as does Chalmers, and then it breaks to Freckleton. He's found Idowu. Idowu's at the edge of the box, can slip Mandron in if he likes, but he chose to go it alone. Still he has it, but he was forced away from goal. 2 Partick Thistle defenders, and then eventually the Championship side can clear. Breaks to Logan Chalmers on this near side. He was brought off at half-time in the first leg on the try and rescue this for the Jags.
They have changed their 4 now with 2 midfielders, and they're playing 3 wingers behind 2 strikers. Partick Thistle
needs must. It's back with Josh Clark. Rolls it to his right there, outside his box to Ashcroft, up the right touchline here as Logan drives forward at pace. Infield to Chalmers, loads forward for Partick Thistle. Ian's just been talking about it. It's played out to the left side. Fitzpatrick, 3, 4, 5 now waiting in the middle. Low ball across is cleared there by Tanser. Took a little deflection, which could have led it anywhere. Mandron goes down. Was he fouled by Ashcroft? No, says Nick Walsh. Has got his arms outstretched like Christ the Redeemer over Rio de Janeiro. There's no sense of a foul in Nick Walsh's mind.
They were fouling each other.
Here's Led Sosa for Partick Thistle, driving forward. Gets to the edge of the area, and that's a free kick. Thistle right at the edge of the box. It was Fraser, the man whose goal separates the teams in the tie, right at the edge of the D.
This is a chance.
And slightly off-centre as well, which will help whoever's going to take this.
I think it'll be Chalmers. Well, it suits a left foot for me, just because it's slightly to this side. And it was a foul. I thought it looked like a bad one at the first side.
Must be a chance. You've got the 3 Partick Thistle staff members out on the dugout, eagerly anticipating this.
Yeah, and the assistant Alec Ray, who's banned tonight, is up in the stand off to our left, and he's there grinding his teeth as if to say this is a chance.
Does he smash it, Chalmers, do you think? Does he swerve it? It's quite close.
I think he's just got it,
put his foot through it.
Yeah, I mean,
what is it, about 22?
Hit it with pace, with curl into the top corner. I think that's what he's going to try and do.
Chalmers looks favourite. It is Chalmers! Oh, what a save by Sinclair! And what a hit it was by Logan Chalmers, who's left scratching his head. Sinclair must have seen it late as it came through the wall. And he throws himself to his right, and it's a spectacular piece of goalkeeping from the emergency loanee.
I mean, did it go through the wall? It must have went through the wall, if so. The wall just didn't do their job, and it's a terrific save.
Yeah, I had a feeling he was just going to put his laces through it, as just the way he was shaping his body. My goodness, does he catch it well? But a great save.
Fabulous hit and save. How important is that save going to be? 11 and a half of the 90 to play. Saints 1, Thistle 0, 2-1 in aggregate to St Mirren. In comes the corner. It's flicked away by Freckleton. It's going to go out for a corner on the other side though. This near side. The Partick Thistle right. You hear the Thistle fans behind the goal there. They try and give their team all the encouragement they can. In from Chalmers, left-footed, it's headed up into the air by Mandron, up to the edge of the box. Let Sosa gets his head onto it, but it's rifled clear there by Scott Tanser. He comes all the way through to Clark, just outside the centre circle as the Thistle goalkeeper. Long ball out to this near side with the right foot, comes off the head of Tanser and out for a Thistle throw-in.
It's just, I don't know, it's not playing well for St Mirren, I think, because it's got a feel of this is a game that's going into the last minute, last 2 or 3 minutes. It's way too early.
Yeah, but Adowu's carrying it away from danger. It's a terrible touch though, and that allowed the challenge to be made by Loughry. As both teams battle for it in the midfield, eventually Devaney to Tanser, then up to Mandron, who's fouled by Logan. No, he wasn't. It's no foul. And you can hear the reaction from the St Mirren supporters to that. And I don't think that the decisions have been going their way tonight. There's Crawford on this near side. Infield to Led Sosa. First time ball down this Right side, Freckleton facing his own goal under pressure from Samuel. He's brought him down. I thought he won the ball though. It looked like Freckleton had got plenty of the ball, and the referee blew his whistle, but it's gone St Mirren's way, and Alex Samuel can't believe it. It looked like the linesman on the near side was going to eventually give it to the visitors. It's gone to Saints, who lead 1-0 in this second leg.
I don't know what wrong with that. I don't think it was a foul either way. It was just two guys battling for the ball. I think Freckleton did quite well to hold Alex Samuel off.
I thought Freckleton slipped, and just by the way he slipped, his foot poked out and hit the ball, and it's two players jostling for the ball. It's not a foul to anybody.
Craig McLeish down there encouraging his players. Tough gig for him, the young coach. Stepping into the breach. Stephen Robinson left the club. It's been tough for him the last few weeks as Freckleton has to react to Mackay Stephen chasing him down. He's rolled back to his keeper. Sinclair batters it forward with the right foot out to this left-hand side. Mandron trying to stretch the neck muscles to get the flick onto it. He gets nothing onto it in the end, and it's out for a throw-in to Thistle, which is taken quickly by Logan. Infield to Ashcroft and then to Litsosa. Back to Ashcroft and out to Logan on this near side. It's a long ball with the right foot. 81.5 on the clock. It's headed away by Saints. Drops to O'Hara. Gets it forward to Idowu. Sidesteps away from Lockery. Buys himself some space. Trying to close him down. Paddy Redding on the far side as he passes it back to O'Hara. And it's moved infield to Devani. Right foot ball out to the far side.
The initial touch and pass from O'Hara was magnificent. He just took the sting out of Partick Thistle, bought his Idowu some time, and showed his experience there for sure.
Kyle Turner's coming on now for Thistle, and he's going to replace Robbie Crawford, like for like change. And Kyle Turner was in the Partick Thistle team, beaten by Ross County in the final 3 years ago before making the move to Dingwall himself. Of course, back at the Jags now as he replaces Crawford. Ian McCall.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's not had a great season, Kyle. I mean, he 2 or 3 years back, he got his move to Ross County. I think he earned himself quite a lot of money up there, but he just hasn't quite kicked on. But you know what? He's got a big 10 minutes to play here.
Thistle trying to, at the very least, force extra time. They've got it in the midfield here. The drive forward, trying to get something up the park. Mackay Stevens, a good run from him, but eventually he's closed down. Saints have it back with O'Hara. Manages to get it out to Idowu on the right hand side. Mandron galloping forward to his left. He's away from one, gets away from a second challenge, lays it back to Devani, scoops it to the right of the box for O'Hara, to Mandron, first time back to Richardson. Forward to Mandron, looking for the break of the ball in the box. Now it's Richardson, he's got options in the middle, across it comes. The keeper manages to scramble it behind for the corner. And it will remain St Mirren 1, Partick Thistle 0, and 2-1 to Saints on aggregate as they get ever closer to Premiership survival. Just 7 of the 90 to play.
Yeah, Craig McLeish will be delighted with that. It's up the other end, and there's a lot of good play there, good passing. I tell you, Mark O'Hara's played really well since he's come on. He's given them real stability in the midfield. He's winning the ball, and more importantly, he's passing it reasonably well. You know, just easy passes.
It is so intense. Corner, St Mirren.
O'Hara's right on the edge of the box, free as well.
Yeah. Tanzer bends it into the 6-yard box. Goggins to the header, it's well wide. And it will stay 1-0 to the home team as the seconds tick away from Partick Thistle. A whole season's work comes down to these last 6 minutes plus stoppages. Kyle Turner for the visitors, midway inside his own half, rifles it to that left side for Lockery. And he's got Redding to the left, uses him up against Richardson, level with the penalty spot. Now make it for the byline, low ball across, it's cleared by Fraser, who's the big hero right now, he and his goalkeeper. Sinclair's made a couple of excellent saves, particularly that one from Logan Chalmers from the free kick. And it's Thistle with another attack, breaking down on the far side. Mackay Stephen passes it straight into touch. What have Thistle got left? Change coming here. Richard King is going to come on for Richardson for St Mirren for the final 5 of the 90.
Well, I tell you what, Thistle have got. They've got 6 minutes plus injury time. So, listen, they need to try and get the ball forward. They've went ultra attacking. You know, whether the balance is right now, but they've got 3 wingers playing behind the 2 strikers, and they've just got to hope to create that one chance and take it. This is a good sub from Craig McLeish, a defensive substitute.
Yeah, on comes King for Richardson. I said Paddy Redding there, apologies. Aidan Fitzpatrick, of course, Redding's off. It will be a throw into St Mirren deep inside their own half, level with their own penalty spot on the far side, and it's going to be King's first involvement as he's serenaded by the North Bank supporters over on that far side. And the Ultras. It is a St Mirren throw-in. It's been such a long season, it's been so dramatic, there's been so many stories. There's been so many twists, so many turns along the way. A bumpy road for some, successful one for others. And if St Mirren can stay up, as they're primed to do, then they will know they'll have Premiership football next season, and they will begin next season as League Cup holders. Thistle though have the ball, St Mirren with the throw, and he got it into the Thistle half, but it's picked up here by Turner. It's played out to Chalmers on this near side. Big switch out towards Fitzpatrick. He's going to get onto it here. So looking for late drama here. Down the left, the overlapping run, the chance to cross potentially, to pull back. Phillips falls on the ball in his own box and eventually gets it clear. Now Idowu, of course, Thistle committing numbers forward in their search for an equaliser, leaving space. Idowu with his jersey pulled there by Ashcroft. Still he has it though. Idowu for Mandron. It's on his left foot and he finds the side net. It wasn't a great touch from him initially as Ashcroft's booked for the shirt pull. And he finds the side net only, does Mikael Mandron, which would have settled all the nerves and settled all dubiety about what's left here, with St Mirren leading 1-0 and 2-1 in aggregate.
Yeah, I don't know if his legs are tired, but it was his first touch that let him down there, which you can't say too often across the two legs, but his first touch just took it too wide. If he gets a cleaner, tighter first touch, he probably finds the target, but not quite to be on that occasion for Mandron.
Is one goal going to be enough for St Mirren tonight? We did suspect if they were going to win this game in normal time or extra time, it would be by the narrowest of margins given their struggles in front of goal this season, as that goes behind for a St Mirren goal kick. Brilliant on the far side.
Sorry, Liam, just brilliant cover from Godzic. I mean, I think he started the game really sloppily, but this is the time players like that are needed. A great cover, got his body in front and won his team a goal kick.
I mean, they were just full of nerves in that first half, St Mirren in particular.
Yeah,
both teams looked edgy, but Saints in particular.
I absolutely agree. I think that St Mirren have definitely been the better side this half, albeit the goalies had to make two really, really good saves from Thistle.
There's a long ball by Sinclair. He's put it straight into touch on this near side though. Thistle have a throw in and they're in a hurry. Time against them as well as the scoreline. Logan can't keep it in play. It's going out for a St Mirren throw in on this near side.
Yeah, I did say in the first half that that didn't dominate the game in terms of creating chances, but he did feel that it was important that they scored in that first half because St Mirren always had it in them to come out and play better, and they have done. They've taken one of their opportunities.
Dannon Lundalu's going to be on in the closing stages. And it's Freckleton who bowls the ball forward, flicked on by Tanzer towards the corner flag. Mandron. Now they are getting to the point where they might want to eat up the clock. Clearance though as St Mirren give the ball away. It's Watt on the halfway line, gets it into the path of Mackay-Steven. He's got it out to Samuel. Mackay-Steven continues his run. Samuel has it right side of the Saints box. He's looking tired now though as Devaney makes the challenge out for the throw-in as he gesticulates to the St Mirren supporters. Here's Turner on the near side, on the right then on the left, gets the cross in. Watt with his back to goal, flicks it to the edge of the area for Mackay-Steven. Out to Fitzpatrick on the far side. Back to Lockery. Square ball in field to Cammy Logan. Out it comes to Turner. We're in the 90th minute here. 1-0 St Mirren and 2-1 in aggregate. Into the box it comes Mackay-Steven. Well defended by King. To get it half away. Breaks to Turner the edge of the box. Plays it straight off the head of O'Hara. And St Mirren are able to clear. And out it goes for a throw-in on this near side to Thistle, midway inside their own half, but St Mirren are going to make the change.
There's
opportunity for Phillips.
There's opportunities there. It's just the decision making. When to pull the trigger, when to play it across, when to make that final pass. Just need to calm themselves down because they will get another opportunity. Thistle, I'm convinced of it.
Killian Phillips played a big role in this playoff final, having scored the first in the first leg in that 1-1 draw. On comes Lundalu. He's made some spectacular interventions this season, most notably that League Cup semi-final against Motherwell. He also scored as 5 minutes are added on at the end against Thistle when they were here in the Scottish Cup. Here's Nlundulu, first chance here to slip it to Idowu, right side of the box, Mandron in the middle, other options arriving as well. Inside the penalty area, can he pick out a teammate's pull back? The shot's blocked, it was Nlundulu who's just on. That would have settled it. Thistle clear out for a Saints throw in on the far side. That would have killed it stone dead. Somehow it stays out.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic feet work again from Idowu. He flatters to deceive, because you watch him 50% of the time and he's the best player on the pitch, then the other times he's anonymous. So if they can get him consistently at the level he could be at, he should be playing every week for St Mirren.
Thrown on the far side, Saints. Down the line it goes from King. Nlundulu holding off his man. Idowu's out there as well. Nlundulu has it at the byline. He wins the corner. That is exactly what Ross Sinclair up the other end of the pitch wants to see. It's what the defenders want to see as well, because that just eats it all away from Partick Thistle.
Yeah, Jamie Langfield, the goalie coach as well, he wanted them to do this earlier. He's telling me 2 out just to try and just to keep the ball at the corner flag.
Well, we're down to the final 3.5 minutes. Thistle are looking at another season in the Championship as it stands. The League Cup winners are just minutes away from safety. And it's O'Hara on the right, down the line it goes again. Idowu can't control and Thistle clear. Rifled forward, Samuel giving chase. Looks absolutely knackered as Gogic blocks him. Now what's the ref going to do to deal with this? The yellow card's out. Gogic and Samuel come together. The goalkeeper getting involved as well. Samuel was chasing it down. Gogic was trying to prevent him from getting to the ball. There's a card, the yellow's out, and
how
they're both being booked.
I mean, is it a free kick? Is it a free kick too? Because if it's a free kick to Thistle, it's a really dangerous area.
Well, we don't know the answer to that yet. It doesn't look as though it's a free kick to Thistle, because the Saints players aren't getting ready to defend one.
Well, what frustrates me is that Alex Samuel runs, and Gogic runs across his path intentionally to stop him putting pressure on the ball. And they're hugging now, but Alex Samuel crashes into him and he falls to the floor. Still waiting to see what...
Yeah, and the ball was nowhere near them.
No.
Samuel was desperate to get to it. Gogic was desperate to prevent Samuel getting to the ball. And it's going to end up a St Mirren ball.
Yeah, it's a strange decision.
Strange decision, but a real result for St Mirren at this stage in the game.
No, too right. 2 minutes left. 3 of the 5 added on have been played. Saints 1, Thistle 0. 2-1 St Mirren on aggregate. Right-footed the goalkeeper. Nobody's leaving this yet, though. It's been that kind of season. You just do not know what to expect next. Logan Chalmers gets it back to his goalkeeper. Clark hits it first time, looking for Samuel, gets something onto it. Mackay-Steven takes it down. Early ball looking for Watt. Gogic slipped a little there, but he gets back to his feet and clears. Hugely important that he did so.
They need to get back on side there.
King clears as well on the far side, up high over his head. Idowu chases. Ashcroft wins the header. Mandron's onto it, down the line but out of play. Thistle throwing. They're running out of time. There's just over a minute to go. This has to go route one. Will they get one chance?
No.
Will they get one chance? Long from Turner, up towards Watt, gets the head onto it. Samuel on the turn, it's blocked. Still alive. Mackay-Steven goes down. Was he fouled in the box? Ref doesn't think so.
Oh, that's a foul.
Brought down to the edge of the area, and that's a free kick. But was it a penalty in Mackay-Steven? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't think so. First looking, it wasn't a penalty. It's a definite free kick, though. He's wiped him out at the edge of the box. This is another. Well, this is it, isn't it? This is it.
Does Logan Chalmers just put his foot through it again? Because you would think if he makes the same connection twice, Ross Sinclair's going to do well to save the next one.
Well, there's no suggestion they're looking at a penalty here, and nothing wrong with it, that's what I'm hearing. So it will be a free kick rather than a penalty. But my goodness, Logan Chalmers hit this handsome earlier to draw a magnificent save out of Ross Sinclair. If Thistle don't score here, St Mirren will stay up and Thistle will stay down. They've got to score here. Late heartbreak in Dingwall at this stage 3 years ago. Can Thistle this time have some redemption for themselves?
Goalie's left.
Let's find out. Will it be Chalmers again? Will it be Turner? Let's see. And it goes right-footed off the wall. It was Kyle Turner. Bounces over to the far side. We've played 5.5 minutes. 5 are added. The ref's blown for full time. St Mirren are staying up. St Mirren will be playing Premiership football next season. My goodness, they've had to sweat it out tonight. They've beaten Partick Thistle by the narrowest of margins. Relief all over the face of Craig McLeish down there. And from the Saints players. And I can tell you, there's several thousand St Mirren supporters as well. There's a lot of puffing out of the cheeks going on around about us. Marcus Fraser with the only goal of the second leg, as he volleyed home at the back post from O'Hara's free kick. It survived the offside VAR check, and it was enough. It was enough for St Mirren. After the 1-1 draw in Maryhill on Thursday, it was enough for them to win 2-1 in aggregate and preserve their top flight status. And there will be no shine taken off that League Cup lift either now. Having beaten Celtic, and well beaten Celtic in December to win their second League Cup, they've managed to stay up after a terrible second half of the season that saw them drop into the drop zone, finishing 11th in the Premiership. They've managed to come through this test, but for Partick Thistle it is yet more playoff heartache. 3 years on from the defeat in Dingwall on penalties to Ross County in their other appearance in the final since dropping down through this playoff final in 2018. And they are going to have to face up to the fact they're going to be playing in the second tier again next season. But for St Mirren Football Club, it is an almighty sense of relief more than anything else. They'll celebrate tonight. Well, they'll know they've dodged a bullet as a club. But they will be back for a 9th successive season in Scottish football's top flight as the most incredible 2025-26 domestic season draws to a conclusion. And it ends with St Mirren avoiding relegation. It finished here in Paisley under the lights now. St Mirren 1, Partick Thistle 0, and 2-1. The Buddies stay up on aggregate.
Scottish football lives here.
This is Sports Sound.
That is a beautiful finish!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
The road to the World Cup twists and turns.
They have got it all to do again.
But every pass, every run, and every mistake is a lesson.
A lot to learn, but I think, really good signs.
Now is the time to get behind Steve Clarke's men.
As the Tartan Army believe once more.
And prepare to take on the world.
Heroes, each and every one of them.
Scottish football lives here. Sports Sound, Scotland versus Curaçao. Live Saturday from midday on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
That's to come on Saturday. Sunday it'll be the Women's Scottish Cup final, Celtic against Rangers. Tonight we have been bringing you the conclusion to the playoffs, and once again it is heartbreak for Partick Thistle. 6 times they have gone into the SPFL end of season playoffs. They've now lost in 1 quarter-final, 2 semi-finals and 3 finals. They stay in the championship, and the crestfallen players are off to our right, just standing applauding those Partick Thistle fans. Big turnout tonight, full house, and they had plenty to give the team, but it is disappointment in the end for the Jags. Meantime, for the Paisley Buddies, it is smiles all round. Some of the players' kids just getting allowed onto the pitch there from the family section down to our right, and they are sharing in the moments. but it's relief all round. Michael Mandron and Killian Phillips coming off there almost arm in arm. Marcus Fraser, perhaps the unlikely goal hero, as he smashed it in off the underside of the bar. And that was the only goal on the night. It was enough to secure that 2-1 aggregate success. We'll get reaction from both teams, I'm sure. But it is going to be contrasting emotions, as it always is on these occasions. We've been with the playoffs all the way through since they were introduced. They have been an incredible part of the Scottish game. They have given so much. This was tense. It was nervy at times. There were chances, there were opportunities, and Partick Thistle coming oh so close to getting back on level terms with that Logan Chalmers free kick, which was struck superbly. The save from Ross Sinclair was absolutely outstanding, and that, along with the goal from Fraser, enough to ensure that St Mirren stay up. Relief, smiles, and big emotions all round the pitch as St Mirren do what they needed to do, and they will be playing in the Premiership once again next season. Jane Lewis is wandering around. We'll get some reaction, Jane, just about to head up the tunnel there. Some of the players are heading up. Alex Gogic, I wonder if there may be interest in Alex Gogic from elsewhere in the summer. He certainly, after a bit of a shaky start, he had a lot to do this evening, and he did it very convincingly from that point onwards. Tony Watt and he just having a hug down there by the pitch. It's going to be devastating for those Thistle players to have missed out after what has been an incredible campaign, a really impressive campaign. Big hugs there from Craig McLeish and Alex Gogic, and you've got to say Craig McLeish has done it as well when you think of where he was and the role he was playing, and he was part of the first team coaching staff, but to come and take on the manager's position and to guide them through, it's taken the playoffs to ensure that safety, but he has done it. He has done what was asked of him, and it's a fantastic achievement by him as well. Relief all round here, Rory, at Smythe Stadium, as St Mirren managed to avoid the ignominy, I suppose, of being a League Cup final winners and a relegated side from the top flight.
Yeah, as I've kind of said throughout the two legs, that, you know, St Mirren were playing to avoid relegation effectively, and that does come with an element of huge relief when you manage to achieve that. So listen, over the piece, it wasn't a particularly high quality two legs. I felt like Partick Thistle played with the shackles on at times. They got to a certain point and there was maybe a loose pass or a poor pass, and it's just unfortunate for them that it came at this point. Why that was, I'm not quite sure. They're a good side. I think they match St Mirren. I don't think there's anything at all really between the sides, but unfortunately for Partick Thistle, in the first game when they were on top, they took a chance, and so did St Mirren. In this game tonight, they were evenly matched, but Partick Thistle couldn't take their opportunity when they were on the top. Thanks to Ross Sinclair as well, who made a great save, but St Mirren managed to pluck an iron out the fire through Marcus Fraser and turn one into the net to keep them in the league. Yeah,
I've not seen the goal, I've not seen the pictures of it yet, but just seeing it in the flesh, it looked to be a magnificent strike that come off the crossbar twice and then kind of go in almost at the far post.
It certainly went in the side net at the far post. I've seen it clip the crossbar. I'm not sure if it was once or twice, but a really good finish from Marcus Fraser, who I said, like, I don't mind, you know, watching people make mistakes. I did loads of them, but I mean, he gave the ball away a couple of times, but he never ever stopped showing for the ball. He always demanded it, he always wanted it, he put himself in good positions, and he was prepared to go time and time again. So you know, a player who's played a big part here over the last 3 or 4 years, so quite fitting that he's the one to score the winner.
It's kind of strange off to my right there. The Thistle, they were applauding the Thistle players were applauding the fans. Now the players are just kind of standing there looking at the fans, and
well,
they just don't want to leave the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's the young ones that are stayed, the kind of ultra type that are still singing away, and I don't think they want to leave until they disperse. But look, listen, Richard, nothing in the game. I didn't think it was a great game. There was a bit of pace and tempo to it, but I don't think either team played that well. You couldn't say anybody deserved to win, it's just Marcus Fraser took that chance, and like you, I'd love to see it back, but in real time it looked like a fantastic finish. And the on-loan goalie Ross Sinclair, I mean, it was a really good save from Alex Samuel and a really good save from Logan Chalmers as well, but I think the goalie's got to make those saves. If he'd have let them in, I think he'd have been questioned. It's not one of them you think, oh, but other than that, Thistle, you just wonder whether they put on too many forwards and there was a kind of lack of balance. There was like 3 wingers and 2 strikers, and it was it's heartbreaking. I mean, for the supporters, 5 years in the making, and you couldn't say, listen, from an impartial point of view, you couldn't say either team deserved to win. Tonight it went St Mirren's way. They got a great finish, and Thistle couldn't get that goal.
Yeah, I don't know if the St Mirren players are coming back out again. I mean, they seem to do a fairly substantial lap on. I am being told they will be back out again. So maybe half, 2/3 of the St Mirren fans have stayed here. Maybe they're just waiting for Thistle to vacate the premises. Very slowly the fans are starting to move, and you would think that the players will start to do so as well. But not all out there. Quite a few of the Partick Thistle players have already gone back into the dugout, into the tunnel rather, and then back to the changing room. I mean, they're going to be devastated. And once again, I said on Thursday night, the playoffs have not been kind to Partick Thistle. Same again in a third final loss now in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, there's been loads of great moments in the playoffs, but ultimately the great moment that you actually want has been elusive. And but you can't stop trying to get in the playoffs. You want to win it, obviously. You've got to keep going and keep going and keep going. But I will say, to young Craig McLeish, well done. I mean, he's now given himself. I think if they'd been relegated. Sorry.
No, and you got just a nice touch here. The St Mirren fans applauding the Partick Thistle players. Yep. Craig McLeish is live with Jane.
Craig, many congratulations. Sum up the emotions for us.
I'm delighted for the players and for the fans, for the club in general. The remit when I took over the role was to stay in the league. We'd have liked to have avoided this type of situation, but we've managed to do that. I'm just delighted for the fans, the group of players. I spoke to the players before the game about we wanted to make sure that they're remembered as legends of this club after the achievements this season and winning the cup. We didn't want that black mark against our name. First half was nervy, was cagey, full of mistakes. It wasn't really anything tactical. It was us controlling our emotions. I thought we did that better in the second half. And probably for once this season, like, our bench was a kind of strength to it. When Partick started to tire, we brought on some fresh legs that kind of saw us over the line.
So how did you change that kind of attitude, kind of less nervy in the second half compared to the first half, a bit more full of intent, a bit more full of energy?
Not even the energy. I think the energy was still there. It was just probably misplaced a little bit. We were jumping and pressing at things that we didn't need to at times. We were playing first time all the time and trying to score every time we got the ball. But look, that's understandable in this game. I've spoke to people who've played in this game over the years, and they say there's nothing like it. You can't feel your legs. You make mistakes that you're not made throughout the season. Look, that's part of it. At half time, it's me being calm. Like, there's no point in going in and criticising or anything. It's me being calm, me keeping a cool head and letting that spread around the group, and thankfully that looks like what's happened.
So what did you say to them in a kind of calm manner to cause the change then?
Just to remember what we were good at. Play simple, play quick. Remember just our strengths and what our game plan is. Like, focus on the bits that we can control. Just simple stuff, and let them kind of say their piece as well, because there was a lot of emotion in there at half time. And then we settled and we came out the second half a lot more looking like us. Probably up until the goal. Then after the goal, it becomes a bit chaotic again. But I'm just glad we seen it through, just again for the fans and for the players.
Talk us through the goal. Marcus Fraser, a beauty and a big one as well.
I didn't know who scored it. I didn't. And then it was just a whole bit about drawing lines and things like that as well. But look, Mark will be disappointed that he didn't start the game, and he comes on and straight away impacted, a great delivery into the box, and we had to do that because bringing him on at the time we brought him on, it might have been that last kind of period of the game, it might have been into extra time. So I'm delighted with his attitude to it. Like, he's a leader of a group, and it was one leader to the other for the goal, which is fantastic.
And despite the fact that you were better in the second half, Thistle did certainly still create a couple of problems. They had a couple of dangerous looking free kicks, one right at the end there as well. What was going through your mind when they were lining up to take that free kick?
Just more so just the two outcomes. Like, I knew that was probably the last kick of the game. Then the thoughts kind of go, if they do score here, like, how are we adjusting for the next period? Even like Ross, I need to mention Ross. Ross has been fantastic since he's come in. We've got an emergency lone goalkeeper we've had for I don't know how many games. Kind of now he just feels part of our group. But we made some fantastic saves tonight. His distribution was good. He's a credit to himself, and kind of thanks St Johnstone for helping us out on that side of it too.
I guess it now means the club can move on, start preparing for next season, and that will, I guess, have some kind of outcome as far as you're concerned as well. Do you know where you stand with that yet? When do you start maybe to talk about your future here?
I imagine Keith will probably start to have conversations about that over the next few days. The bit was just, we kind of spoke about, like, just take care of everything, and whatever the outcome is, the club will plan their future from there. I'm just being in a privileged position that they allowed me the kind of the responsibility and the faith, and they put trust in me to take the team on. Even I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for Stephen Robinson giving me opportunities up till that point as well. So I have to thank him for this opportunity, and if I get the opportunity to lead the group on, my biggest bit is make sure we're never in that type of game again.
The fact that you have completed the remit, though, you've seen that through, you're staying in the Premiership, you must feel that you've got a good chance of getting the job on a full-time basis, and you must feel that you are capable of doing the job.
I've felt that way, like in terms of capable of doing the job and handling the full thing. I've felt that since day one, probably. This is always what I've been building towards. I can't control when I would get the opportunity. I just had to make sure I was ready to go, and I hope I've shown people that.
Just a final one. What does tonight hold? A few celebrations?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm not sure. We weren't kind of planning anything. Probably just some time with family and things like that as well. And then probably just right back to it tomorrow, because we don't have a lot of time. There's not a big turnaround for pre-season and things, so a lot of planning only to get crammed into a few weeks.
Well done, and enjoy any break you get.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
There you go. I was trying to think, have they got another game coming up? The way you said there's not going to be much of a turnaround, but I realised he's actually talking about next season. First and foremost, he got the job done. That's what he was asked to do, I guess, when he came in. I don't know if they initially said just take it in from, and then they said it would be till the end of the season. But look, he had big shoes to fill, Ian, and a very young man in managerial terms. I mean, he really has acquitted himself well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, and you know, and I thought it was a real nice touch, mentioning Stephen Robinson as well. And you know what, he'll learn if he's in the job a while. He'll learn when you get a good night, you celebrate it, you know, because there'll be plenty of low nights. But listen, I don't think he had any chance of getting the job if St Mirren were relegated. What he has done is he's conducted himself really well, and he's given himself a real chance for the job.
And he just got a huge round of applause as he made his way out of the tunnel, having spoken to Jane there. He's with his wee girl, I think, there, and they are just wandering around. The players did all come back out. They kind of wandered down towards the away end, of course, stopped at that point and then came back up along the side of the main stand here. They've been along to the stand off to our left, and now they're heading across to the far side. And there are no great celebrations going on. The celebrations obviously came in the final whistle. This is more just a thank you for your support all season long, and it's just the traditional applause, I suppose, the lap of honour, if you like, that all clubs do in the last home game.
Yeah, and it's amazing, Richard, how different the mood could be if that hadn't won their way tonight, because they were pretty unhappy at half time, that's for sure. But they've come back and they've won the match, and I totally agree with Ian. You know, it's such an intense environment, football, when you work ever so hard all season. So nights like tonight, you've got to make sure you enjoy it and switch off. And listen, some of the players will be relieved more than anything else because they found themselves in a position of 11th, and I've said it time and time again about St Mirren, and the fans in here, they understand and appreciate just how good this group of players has been for the last 3 or 4 years. You know, European adventures, top 6 finishes, cup finals, cup semi-finals. You know, to finish 11th is forgivable, and the fans, I think, in here will just be absolutely delighted that they've managed to stay in the league, and they'll hope for more success or better league form certainly next season, regardless of who the manager turns out to be.
I love the fact that they had no idea even who had scored. He hadn't even asked, because he's just totally then focused on how my team then see the game out. How do we manage it from here, having taken the lead here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought they retreated and a little bit early. I mean, they played the last 20 minutes as if it was the last 2 or 3. But to be fair, Craig McLeish is right. When the substitutes he put on made a real difference.
Mark O'Hara did.
Mark O'Hara, I thought it was terrific.
It was a super free kick, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Different class.
I'd kind of forgotten about that lengthy delay as well. I must admit, it didn't even cross my mind that there might be any kind of VAR issues. And then Liam, having done the whole thing and described the goal and set it all up nicely, went, oh, hold on, there might just be a little issue here. We've seen a still of it. I mean, it is so close, so tight.
Yeah, I mean,
so naive of us, because I was the same, Richard. I was describing the goal, but I was so naive of us at this stage in the season to be surprised by a delay in a VAR intervention.
And it was pretty lengthy, and it did mean that there were a lot of nerves around the stadium, and Nick Walsh eventually just very kind of nonchalantly pointed to the centre circle, pointed to the spot, and then the celebrations kicked off all over again. So Craig McLeish, would you anticipate, he said he expects to have a chat with Keith Lasley over the next few days. He also said there, look, I felt from the moment I stepped into this job, I felt that I'm ready for it, that this is what I've been building up to. Do you think he will get the opportunity?
I think the powers that be here took a real chance appointing a young lad like that, but you know, he has come through it really well, and he's talked really well, and he came through one dodgy moment, I think, after a home defeat, but was it Kilmarnock that beat them comfortably, and he kind of lost it, but he's come back from that. He's come back really strongly, and I think one of the things is that if St Mirren get relegated, he's got no chance of the job, but because they've stayed up, he's conducted himself really well, he spoke really well, and he's got the results to keep them up, because don't forget, it didn't just plummet when Craig McLeish took over. You know, it was a bad run of results when Stephen Robinson was there after the cup final. They brought this on. So I think he's got every chance of the job. Whether the powers that be will give him, I have no idea, but he certainly has a chance.
Yeah, look, every club making a decision like that, Rory, they have various things to weigh up. What do you think will be uppermost in their minds as they contemplate this?
Well, I don't think it'll be necessarily as straightforward as him simply being appointed. That's maybe what will transpire, that he is appointed, and I just think discussions, the board, Keith Lasley, who knows football inside out, I think they'll want to have a discussion with regards to what he sees going into next season. And what he sees for the club, because as I said, I think they've been caught a little bit between Stephen Robinson's style of playing, what Craig McLeish wants to implement. So I think they will want to have, you know, thorough discussions with Craig McLeish as to, you know, who he's looking to bring in, the way he's looking to play, and you really pick his brains on his ideas before making a decision, because I think that's going to be important moving forward.
While they're having that conversation, they'll be sounding other candidates out, of course.
Yeah, look, you fully expect that will be the case, and also you'd imagine that, well, you know for a fact that agents and maybe even managers themselves will be contacting St Mirren.
They wouldn't be doing their jobs if they weren't sounding out who they feel is the best candidate. Craig McLeish may be top of that list at the moment, but it's not to say that someone else won't become available, and if they're not on their toes, they'll miss them.
The one thing I'll say about Craig's situation is if they offer him the chance they're bringing in an experienced manager but want you to be assistant for the next 2 or 3 years, that'll be a tough job for him now. I think he's had a taste of what it's like to be the number one, to go back to either the academy or the youth team or be even the assistant manager on the first team. That'll be quite tough, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, because you've had a taste of the big time, haven't you? And not only have you had a taste, but actually you've emerged successfully. St Mirren, would they see finishing 11th in the Premiership as a successful season? I would think probably not, given the previous seasons they've had, but you throw in the fact they also won the Scottish League Cup.
They'd have taken that, Richard. I don't agree. I've heard some people say they would have taken winning the League Cup and been relegated. I disagree with that. I think if they were offered the League Cup and a 2-game shootout to stay in the league, they'd have taken that. League Cup for a club like St Mirren's absolutely huge. So I think it has been overall a pretty successful season.
The players have been across at the far side where the kind of ultras are applauding them, and a lot of singing back for, just making their way back along. Ross Sinclair coming along there, came in here on this emergency loan. He's played, 7 or 8 games he's played. It was a very good save from Alex. I thought the save from the free kick was absolutely outstanding, because I think that has been blasted through the wall by
he just saw it late. It was really good reactions. I just feel if he lets that in the net and it's so close to him, I just think you're going to be, people will say, What was the goalie doing?
You football managers just hate giving goalies credit.
It was a great save.
You absolutely hate it.
Because it was so central, I do understand what Ian was saying, but the reaction to save that and tip it, was it rounded for a corner?
Over the bar.
Was it over the bar? Was incredible, yeah.
I mean, really strong wrists to hold it quite in the way that he did. Anyway, the players have made their way back over now. I see Jane having a wander, and she is just about to have a chat with Alex Gogic.
Alex, congratulations. You've got all your children out here to celebrate with you. How does that feel? A big relief, I would imagine.
Yes, a big relief. I think we wanted to end the season on a high. Winning the League Cup, that was amazing, but this was important to make sure that we stay in the Premier League.
Yeah, winning that League Cup, I mean, obviously a brilliant thing, but it almost would have meant nothing if you had gone down to the Championship. Is that how you kind of felt?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Silverware, you can't change that, but I think to go down, it'll be a big change for the club. People we don't see, the fans don't see every day. It's a big impact, so we had to make sure. We knew, we got a result away. We drew, people were saying, they were much better, but we knew we just got to stick to the plan. And I think if we kept a clean sheet, which we did today, we would win the game.
You talked pre-match, didn't you, about trying to contain the pressure, contain the nerves. Do you feel that you didn't quite manage to do that in the first half?
Yes, I think a few times we could play more. I think the sun as well was a bit, to switch a play on the left was a bit hard because everyone just looked shadows. But like you say, I think a few times, that's what we said at half-time, we just got to be calm on the ball, find those spaces, find the free man and just move it side to side and we'll get an opportunity.
How did you able, though, to come out in the second half and believe that you could do that? Because from the first half showing, that the nerves were there. So what was said or what did you think about at half-time that maybe made you come out and play just a bit more freedom in the second half?
Yeah, like you said, more freedom. Like I said, we just said we got to keep calm and try and find that pass instead of, going down the line, forcing it sometimes. And I think that's what we did better second half. We contained the passes and trying to go on the other side. And what a finish from Marcus. He got the job. But when it went to VAR, I was playing. Come on, God be with us. Give us a bit of luck, especially at the beginning of the season. A few things didn't go our way, so it's nice to actually get the goal.
And what does it mean for the club itself staying in the top flight? And I guess for this group of players who might now stick together rather than if you'd gone down to the Championship, one or two of you might have left.
Yeah, it's very important. I think for any club, it's a big change to go in the Championship. And once you're in the Championship, it's not an easy league. You can see that. Even Partick Thistle, they gave us a hard time. So it's not easy knowing that you're going to come back up. So we had to make sure that we were going to stay up.
And just a final one on the manager. Craig McLeish thinks that he's done enough to try and get the job on a full-time basis. He believes that he can do that job well. What do the rest of the players think? Would you be fully behind that?
Yeah, of course. Whatever the club chooses, I think, he stepped in at a time. Maybe people say it's hard, but we give him full respect. We listen to him. And I think, if he has a pre-season and actually has the time to do what he wants to do, the way he wants to play, it'll probably be even better than what it is. But at the end of the job, he had one job to do, to keep us up in the league, and he got that done. So if the club should decide to go his way, then we're all behind that.
Well done, Alex. You can enjoy your night.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Cheers, nice to see you. Thank you.
Well done indeed to Alex Gogic. I don't know if he has a lot of children himself or if he was just looking after the children of all the players. But he was like the Pied Piper there at one stage. I think he's down to one now.
The ones with their tops off steaming into challenges on that pitch, there definitely is.
Got to be it.
I've never heard a guy from Cyprus moan about the sun either.
I know. Look, I wonder if that did play a part, because he did look a wee bit, not like him, looked a wee bit nervy. Because I love watching Alex Gogic. I just think he gives absolutely everything, every single time, every single challenge, and you can see what it means to him to be out on that pitch and to win games for his team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, as I said, I think he started the game really shakily. Whether that was the sun's fault, I've no idea, but he's just a warrior, and he loves. I think he reads the game really well. He deepens when he has to deepen. He gets up the pitch when he has to get up the pitch. He uses it reasonably well. But he is a real leader, and he's one of these leaders that leads by his actions, I think. I mean, I know he probably will talk in the game, but over in front of the younger St Mirren supporters over at the North Bank over there. 2 or 3 times he's come in and been really, really strong and read the situation, won his team a goal kick or a throw in, and that got the atmosphere up for them. He's a real leader, and he's a credit to St Mirren, I've got to say.
Actually, the challenge that he and Alex Samuel got all tangled up, I mean, it was just actually, for me, Alex Samuel was a completely different player tonight, because he actually concentrated on playing. And you guys talked about it the first game was terrible, the way he was throwing himself around. He was a real handful, and the confrontation, if you like, between the two of them, and ultimately the two of them get booked and they get up and they had a bit of a hug afterwards. But I just love watching that, the two players going absolutely at it for their sides.
As I say, the ball was put into the corner, and I've been there many times as a striker. You're running to put pressure on I think it might have been Marcus Fraser, and Alex Gogic has simply just ran across the path of Alex Samuel to block him doing it. Now Alex Samuel's running at pace, so's Gogic. They tangle the legs, they fall down, and for me, Gogic knows what he's doing, but they got up and hugged each other after that. There's no really need to book anybody in that scenario, but I know that is the done thing these days, where you book the two of them. But yeah, they went at it hammer and tong, and it was a really good watch over the course of the 2 legs. But that man down there, Mark O'Hara, I thought he made a real difference. Not just his delivery, Richard, but a couple of times he just pulled the ball out the sky in the second half towards the end of the game, turned, played it into his 10, whether that was Lundaloo when he came on or Udovu, and really took the sting out of the game, which helped St Mirren massively towards the end of the match.
And actually, Craig Wickledge did make a point of saying to us beforehand, didn't he, that he knew that Mark O'Hara would come on. He just wasn't fit enough to start the game, and he certainly had a contribution. Right back down to Jane. Let's get the other side of the coin now from Mark Wilson.
Mark, commiserations to you. I know this will be a tough one. Can you sum up your emotions for us?
Just obviously really raw. What put into the game tonight, the 2 legs, the full season, and it ends so abruptly, just like that. But if you're asking me inside, I mean, so proud to be the head coach of this side. Says that to the guys. What they've built this season has been something extraordinary. Real connection with the fan base. The fans have bought into it. The fans have came in their numbers. You see the ovation they get at the end, and that's built all the way through the season. So I couldn't be prouder. I think it's been the best group that I've ever been involved in, and I've of course won leagues and been in good teams that got to cup final. But being involved with this group has been extra special, and be sore for a few days for the guys, but need to go away on their holidays and come back stronger next year.
And it was so close over the 2 legs, wasn't it? You must take quite a lot of positives from that. The fact that you ran a Premiership side really, really close to the wire.
Of course, there wasn't much between the teams, but I kind of knew that. I was pretty relaxed coming into the game, and I thought it might just be one goal that would settle it. And I thought, to be fair, we had opportunities. We just didn't quite finish them off, or were clinical enough. Of course, when you concede set pieces against St Mirren, the physicality and the threats there. Funny thing is, we dealt with it so well over the Scottish Cup game and these 2 legs, apart from that one. And that's the fine margins that can cost you at the end of a season. However, I don't want to analyse that kind of stuff. The guys deserve huge credit for what they've done, and really sore it's going to sting, because your season just bang ends and you're away on your holidays. So it gives everybody time to think about it. Football's cruel.
Yeah, it certainly is. It'll give you time to reflect on what's possible for next season, and you'll go again.
We have to go again. Like I was saying to the team there, when I came in, the team was disjointed. Club didn't maybe know what direction we were going in. Season ticket sales weren't great, but it's just all transformed because of that group of players in there. So we've built the squad as the seasons went on. It's important that we keep the core of that, we strengthen, and we come back for first day of the season better prepared to actually go and try and win the league. And I think everybody would thank me for getting these playoffs at their way. It's been, this is great to be involved in them. It's exciting, but I think it's the past 4 or 5 years we've been here, and it's been cruel. It'd be some prize next year if we can go and just win the league.
You talk about keeping the core of your players, and that's crucial, isn't it, if you want to try and go again, and as you say, to try and get promotion at the first time of asking. How likely is that, given that you're playing in the Championship again? Have you already spoken to the board about that and whether that's going to be feasible?
Well, we've been planning for a long time, and of course you need to in football, a plan A and a plan B, where you're going to be Premiership or Championship. Of course, we've certainly retained a lot of our players, but of course those attacking ones are always it's hard to keep. But I think anybody that's seen what's went on here has thoroughly enjoyed it. So why would you not want to stay here at this club? And you saw the connection with the sport, the send off we got for Hull, the send off we got tonight. I mean, I'd want to be about that next season.
And just a final one, what do you get a chance for that little break now, or is it pretty much straight on the hard work, ready for building for next season?
No, I need a break. Short turnaround. Going to these games in the playoffs, you only get, I think the boys will have 21 days off before they go again. That's consistently year after year. So we'll have a wee break. We'll go back to the stadium, sit with each other, chat, break, and then back at it mid-June.
See you next season. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Cheers. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, well done indeed to Mark Wilson. You just heard exactly what it meant. Just listening to his voice there, he started off by saying how raw it was, and then you heard him at one point just saying, football, it's a cruel game. And that must be exactly how he and those players feel, the fans feel right now, because it has been a season to remember in many ways.
Yeah, it has. I mean, I've been there myself, and yeah, it is tough. And I get what he says when you're at the final and your season's still going, and then bang, it's done, and you didn't achieve what you wanted to achieve. I think the club is a better place now than it was, at the start of this season a year ago. So it's just about what they build now and who they can keep. What sort of players are identified. Can they keep Ben Stanley, can they keep Aidan Fitzpatrick, can we keep Chalmers, these guys? I think maybe the back line needs strengthening. So listen, it's a tough for anybody. It's whether you're a Thistle fan or a fan of any team. If you get beat right in the playoff final, or teams down in England that happen, it's just brutal.
Yeah, and he did make the point there that everyone at the club would probably thank him if they could avoid the playoffs next year, Rory, if they could actually kick on and try to win the title straight out. Yeah,
I thought it was a really good interview. And there is a lot to be said about being in a really good dressing room and enjoying yourself, and not necessarily looking for the grass to be greener on the other side, but it depends what opportunities come up for players like Fitzpatrick and Stanley as to whether they stay or not. But I liked his bullish thought process of, right, let's just avoid this circumstance completely next season. I don't think there's an outstanding candidate in the Championship next season, I really don't. And I think if Partick Thistle can reproduce what they've produced this season, I don't think Livingston will be the force that St Johnstone were this season. So I think they're primed and ready, having got the experience, and I see no reason why, although it is clearly miles away at this point, but there's absolutely no reason, if they can keep the core group of players together, why they can't be one of the front runners.
Guys, thank you very much indeed for tonight, and indeed over the last couple of nights at the playoff final. Thursday, the 1-1 draw at Firhill. Tonight it was Marcus Fraser who got the only goal. It came in the second half, still with a fair bit of time to go, but he smashed it in off the underside of the bar, and that eventually was the only goal of the game. There were a couple of opportunities for Thistle, a couple of good saves from Ross Sinclair, and at the end of it all, Thistle remain in the Championship, and of course St Mirren have guaranteed their place in the top flight for next season. We're heading rapidly towards the World Cup, of course. Scotland playing Curaçao on Saturday lunchtime, 1 o'clock kickoff. That's live on Sportsnet and BBC Radio Scotland, live on the telly as well, and then we'll wrap things up for the domestic game with the Women's Cup final next Sunday, again live from Hampden, live on Sportsnet. Rangers against Celtic. But congratulations to St Mirren, they got the job done this evening. They will be in the Premiership next season.